Welcome to the Atlaran Adventuring Company. This is the world of Atlaran. We've entered the early stages of an industrial age that has begun taming the wilderness across the world. And while progress brings solutions, it also brings new and more complex problems, and tends to pick at old wounds left unhealed. The first trains have begun to run in the north along with airships, but the long-ignored issues of stolen land, pollution, and deforestation have begun to fester, to name only a few. But our focus and our second story is on one small group of new allies and their own struggles and battles against a changing, dangerous world. Our particular window in time falls 500 years after the calamity and the great shattering of Harris. With any luck, this story will resonate across time like the last.
Christmas Fortune Mayor, a dodgy charlatan formerly of the Jade Street Crows gang, but he doesn't remember that part of his life. With a 5-year memory gap and having only recently rediscovered friends he'd forgotten, Christmas is suddenly on a dangerous path left by his former self. Thankfully, he's a master of charm, theatrics, and disguise, and when those don't work, he has found family that, whether he remembers them or not, will fight to the last beside him.
Magda Renly, a professional mercenary and member of the revered Tythel clan of monster hunters. With a wasting curse weighing on her shoulders that can't be dismissed by normal means, Magda has been left to search for an unconventional cure. Now, she's found herself with a group of allies she didn't ask for, and friends whose love she doesn't understand. Years of dealing with regret, ill health, and distrust have left her slow to ask for help.
Noah Barago, a cheery alchemist from Reese's Ridge and son of a well-known engineer and apothecarist. Noah's upbringing was colorful, to say the least, leading to his expertise in potions and mechanical contraptions. He's out in the world to find new ideas and support the family business. But now, he's stumbled into a pile of issues that most rich kids from the suburbs just don't deal with. But in his own words, usually with a gun and a grin leveled at the current problem, "Don't you worry there, guy, everything's gonna be hunky-dory."
Fustrak Wildborn, a wandering warrior from the Nathar clan and student of the runic battle traditions of the Giantkin. Raised by folk who believed in the survival of the fittest, but refused to adapt to the modern world, Fustrak left the clan to seek outside knowledge to hopefully bring home one day. He is set on helping his people survive, even if they're stuck in their old ways and don't realize how badly they need his insight.
Hello. Hi, y'all.
Oh.
Hold on.
Hello.
Okay. Yes, hello everybody, and welcome to the Atlaran Adventuring Company. I am your Dungeon Master, Taylor Wallace, and joining me I have Astrid Knight.
Hello, you can find me basically everywhere at Astrid K. Writes or on my website, astridknight.com. I wrote a book, it's called Perception Check, and if you like D&D, you'll probably like that. And you can find it wherever books can be found.
What if I hate D&D?
You still
You probably
like
wouldn't
it.
like it.
Then
You
why
still
are you
probably
watching
like
this?
Right. Why are you playing this, Coop?
Book isn't about D&D, it's a portal fantasy. God. Anyway, we also have Blake Wolf.
Hi, everybody. I'm Blake Wolf. I also write books. I got all the werewolf smut, if you're into that sort of thing. Got a bunch of them now. Third book came in today.
Ooh.
Yeah, ooh, indeed.
What if I'm not
And-
into that sort of thing? I'm just kidding. I'll shut
What-
up.
Yeah, I don't care if you're not. Read it anyway.
Enough people are
And then-
that we don't care.
That's true. I belong to a group that's got 22,000 members. They love it. I also wrote this book about a cow with a sword. That's the whole story.
It's ridiculous.
It is really ridiculous.
I need to finish it.
Yeah, you can find me everywhere. Blake R. Wolf.
Cool.
That's it.
We also have Zach Gale.
Hey, everybody. This is my book.
That was like a screen wipe. Good job.
I'm just gonna get a clip art of that cover so that you don't have to hold it up, and I'll just have it like PowerPoint slide across the screen.
Well, the fun thing is that the first time I had to come in this way, and then last week I had to come straight up, and then this time I'm just like, whoop.
So next time it's gonna be.
I thought about trying that, but I was like, everyone's going to see my shoulder.
Get a Lena, get a fishing pole.
Blake,
it'll work.
You need to get a copy of the book so that you can hold it up and then drop it, and then it'll look like he catches it on the screen as it falls from the top of the window.
That'd be amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is my book. Some empty houses might really be haunted. It's full of spooky stories and loss and stuff, and maybe some werewolf smut if you're really into that.
It ends a lot different than probably what's going on in Blake's book, but
it do.
Fair.
But similarly delicious. Yeah.
Everything tastes like pennies.
Oh no.
I don't know why that was so funny. I just cackled like a witch.
Coughing up hairballs for the next week.
Anyway, we also have our long-suffering stream master and
He's
hashtag
fine.
normal guy, Saku.
That's my slogan. I'm fine.
this is fine.
So I do need to clear the air a little bit here. So,
Oh, no.
contrary to a previously orated statement, I do like Dungeons and Dragons. So I just thought I would clear the air. As it pertains to my interest in werewolf smut, for that I will exercise my Fifth Amendment right. And that's all that I have to say today. So now, Taylor, it's your turn to talk about you.
That's a dead giveaway that you're a furry.
Just found Hannah's stash.
Bold of you to assume they didn't find mine.
Anyway, as I mentioned, my name is Taylor Wallace, Dungeon Master and Editor Extraordinaire, kind of. And I do shit. I already said I'm the Dungeon Master. I do stuff here too. You can find me at Taylor Wallace with an IY.
Bye.
Oh yeah.
I wore the shirt today.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The day I got Ben, obviously you weren't there, but the day I got this shirt was I have only laughed that hard, but not harder, like 2 other times in my life. I fell on the floor, like literally laughed so hard I couldn't stand.
You're welcome.
It's a good shirt. You can find all our links in our link tree, which should be on screen or in the description below, wherever you're watching or listening. And what else? I feel like I'm missing things, but I never am. The Wayward and the Wanderer. Who has the book?
Oh yeah. Do you got one close, Ash? Yeah. See, Ash has got it. There's like a big fucking pile over here.
That thing. Us 3 from campaign 1, we wrote that.
We did.
Yeah. Look, ain't it pretty? God, love that artist. Anyway.
The detail.
So.
The strokes, the brush strokes. The digital brush strokes.
So today is maybe a little different. Where am I? Okay, framing.
This episode is the titty episode.
Yup, the
Every
Stella
episode is a
Libertity
titty episode. If you're
That's true.
brave
Noah's
enough.
gonna work on the titties.
So, since today is football. Thank you, Corey.
Corey.
That's a Game Grumps reference for anybody who doesn't watch them.
Corey and I say today is football like constantly.
Anytime you're excited, today is football.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Or when the Super Bowl's on.
Non-common knowledge. shit aside, today's going to be a little different because we are wrapping the end of the campaign. At the moment, we'll see how long it takes us, but I'm foreseeing this session and one more, maybe. We'll see. But let's go back to where we were when we left off. I'll grab my notes.
I feel like with this group, that means that there's going to be 5 episodes after this one.
It's very possible.
Let's hope not. I've got Noah's epilogue. I can just be done right now and like go have lunch.
Yeah, I honestly, I mean, there's a few things that I have to do, but Magda's is pretty damn short, so.
Yeah, Magda's is cut and dry. Noah's is secret, and yeah.
Shocking. Did I do a secret ending?
What?
Kind of. At least most of it should stay secret if we want to have fun with it. Yeah. But anyway, it is Rionel 23rd of 502 E1AC. The crew is resting in the break inside the Feywild under Morgan's protection after their battle with Sav. I did bring us to the following morning to give you guys a chance to long rest and whatnot, because you all, especially Christmas, I think, you all did way too much yesterday. Because yesterday, which will go down in history, I haven't picked out a name for the day yet, but there will be a name someday. Yesterday, you did not only defeat Sav and Ilarka again, you destroyed 2 gods in one fell swoop and an entire realm and released a bunch of stolen souls. So, happy legendary status, Nobodies. Good job.
Yeah.
Woo!
Does that mean we get legendary actions now?
Nope. Not unless you're Ifkit. But, yeah. You guys have taken some time to rest. Some of you have done a couple extra projects in the meantime, namely getting Jasper and Gwyn back. And yeah, you've had a night to rest, process the trauma if you want to, or you might want to leave that for about 15 years down the line. That's what I do. And yeah. Sorry, that got dark. But it
Thanks,
is,
Mom.
Oh, God. It is morning. And everybody is getting up. You're in the break. And breakfast is being provided by the minor members of the Court of Reckoning. And Ross and Morrigan are watching over everything. So I will ask this. What are you guys doing with your morning now that everything you've been fighting to do for months has kind of come to an end?
First of all, is Rose still there?
Is Rose still there? Yes.
Okay. I do want to go over and talk to them and ask who all survived. I'm mostly wondering if Lorcan is okay after the whole ship crash.
That is a good question.
Oh, I forgot to ask about Lorcan.
Yeah.
Whoops.
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 We forgot about our buddy.
Yeah.
It's okay. I didn't.
He's fine. We still have a piece of his body, so we can bring him back.
Does that work with Faye stuff?
Sure. I mean, Lorcan is an Atlaran, so...
Well, yeah.
It's a person.
I guess.
Okay, so a thing that I think will become clearer in C3 is that people from the Feywild are not, like, Fey spirits.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they're just different.
Lorcan, given his parents are an Eladrin and, an Eladrin, and a nymph, he's a little different, but he's still just a person, so there's nothing crazy. If it were like Titania, then the rules would be a little different. But so does anybody else want to tag along and talk to Ro? I hate splitting the party.
Sure, I'll go. I gotta ask him about the ship anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was gonna wonder where exactly the crew is staying currently. I believe it was Turisaz, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. So going to find Ro, one of the first things that you learn is that Ro is definitely a member of the Court of Reckoning. Because they know this place like the back of their hand. In fact, as you guys get up and start wandering around trying to find them, you find them in the kitchen and they know where every goddamn thing is. But as you go in and find them just like kind of going about a normal daily, like making breakfast, like asking folks if they would like to join in, making extra for anybody who wakes up late. Ro's kind of going through the motions blank-faced, just not focusing on anything. But when you guys enter, they turn away from their cooking and kind of give you a look that's like 1,000-yard stare. And they're like, "Can I help you?"
Now I feel bad for Josh. Yeah. Sorry if it's like... We just wanted to know how many people made it out of the ship crashing.
And they like put their like the pan they were using aside, and they walk you guys over to a table and say, "Well, by my count, 14 out of 52.
Ooh.
Well,
so what I'm hearing from you is that we need lifeboats.
We had them.
More of them.
Well, you can only use a lifeboat if you're alive to use it. I actually sat down a while last night and wrote down a report, but we didn't see this coming. We knew there was danger, but we had no idea the ship was being attacked until it was too late. So let me tell you guys a little story. I'm going to tell it in my own words instead of Rose. The wreck of the Stella Libertatis. On Rionel 22nd.
Did you know through the Edmonds Fitzgerald?
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because it kind of inspired this, and then I found I know a song called The Mary Ellen Carter, which is by Stan Rogers, that is literally the inspiration for this shit. So, yes. On Rionel 22nd of 502, E1AC, the PAAS Stella Libertatis fell from the sky with her captain and crew off the coast of the Lindvale Peninsula. She carried 52 souls aboard at the time, bound for Turisaz Frosthold after leaving Constanos. At the orders of her new owner, Noah Brago, and the Nobodies. Stella never made it to Blue Shore, but 2 skiffs loaded with 12 crewmen and 2 passengers did. Sorry, that should be 11 crewmen and 3 passengers. My bad. My math sucks. The rest were lost to the cold depths of the southern Foul Seal. The morning of Rionel 22nd, the Stella was approaching Blue Shore, coming within sight of it, the stretch of coast just south of Turisaz. According to what Ro will tell you and some reports that they gathered, eyewitness accounts from survivors say that the captain was making a round of the ship for inspection, checking stocks and the well-being of the crew and their 3 passengers. Chief Engineer Ro reports the monolith engine crystals all in fine order, and was running a brief test of the braking and navigation systems. In an instant, the ship was set upon from below by a number of winged, clawed, screeching creatures that eyewitnesses described as imp-like and devilish. One particularly large creature climbed aboard and brandished a hand cannon, firing at anyone it could see. The crew drew blades and pistols to fight back immediately, and Weifin Stormhoof placed her infant son Rodri into the arms of Engineer Ro before charging into the fray. With passenger Lorcan Shale covering them, Engineer Ro ran to hide the child in the captain's cabin, only to be ambushed by more of the imps. In the midst of the fight, a voice sounded over the ship, saying, "Take them." The giant devil turned his sights on Weifin, and imps flew after Rodri. The giant and Weifin traded deadly blows, and Weifin was able to strike down the giant before he finished her off. She ended up making her way toward the captain's cabin, but collapsed on her way there. The crew, all having become fond of Weifin, rushed to save Rodri in her stead. They were able to charge in and narrowly save Lorcan and Ro from an overwhelming gang of imps. And just when the fight seemed won, several massive explosions rocked the Stella's hull. Multiple monolith crystals' frames had been blown off, sending the massive crystal batteries plunging into the sea. The few that were still connected were heavily depowered, but the tertiary monoliths kicked in and she began an automatic emergency descent by locking into a glide. Another set of explosions then took out her stabilizing system and she plummeted from 300 feet. Everyone aboard the ship was injured, save for the baby, thanks to Ro and Lorcan's quick thinking to shield him with magic. It is unknown how many died on impact, but those who survived were left vulnerable and weak when the Stella began to take on water from multiple punctures in her port and stern. Those still able to walk found that 2 of the Stella's skiffs were still seaworthy, the rest all cracked and broken from the impact. They managed to drag a few other survivors and a dying Weifin aboard. Captain Hatham Beaudry was barely clinging to life, collapsed over the helm and using the last of the Stella's reserves to keep the ship afloat as long as possible. He died there at the console, and Engineer Ro took the ship's keystone before they and the 13 other survivors made their escape. With no dedicated healers aboard and no one with any power left to save her, Weifin breathed her last as the skiffs darted away from the wreck. With the flying skiffs able to make good time eastward, they landed on Blue Shore near Turisaz a short while later. Lorcan had sent a Vodro scroll to Lieutenant Thomas Dane of the AMC, so a team of AMC mercenaries and locals were there to help the survivors into town. And that was the point that Ross showed up. The Stella... or I should mention this part because Ro would tell Fustrak this. Let's see. Lorcan, who is still in Turisaz, made it his job to look after Weifin's body, taking her to the town undertaker to await final arrangements. The Stella eventually sank below the waves till her hull struck bottom about 100 feet down off the coast of the peninsula. Her masts still stand above the water like a grave marker. But, according to Ro, her monolith engine is still humming away. There you go. I've been listening to a lot of shipwreck stories, and
that sounded just like one. That was horrifying.
Thanks! I'm so happy. Sorry, I killed everybody, but I'm really happy that turned out well. That is in the D&D folder of my drive if anybody needs to read through it. There's more details in there. It's a little more dramatic than that reading. But Ro will... What?
I'm just going to say that this campaign is ending on significantly less of a high note so far.
Well, so far.
Yeah.
We're just started. But Ro explains all this to you. Tells you that obviously they, Lorcan, Rodri, survived. You guys do know that, of course, Ro's wife and son were their fellow engineers. They did not make it. The other people who made it were mostly deckhands. None of the officers made it except for Ro. Because they're good ship's officers and they actually stayed with the ship while other people got off. But anyway, yep, that's the fate of Stella. Once they finish telling you guys this, the first thing you notice is that Ro doesn't emote through most of it. They just kind of sit there, stock still, repeating this information like they're giving a report. And when they finally finish, they just sort of fold their hands and bow their head a little bit and look toward Noah, and they say, I imagine you'll want to salvage the wreck.
Yeah. We don't have to. We can take our time. It's not going anywhere.
Well, we'll want to make sure to salvage it soon because those crystals, I'm not very keen on seeing what other people do with them.
Yeah. Well, I'll get working on some potions, I guess, so we can go retrieve the other ones.
Yeah. She's only about 100 feet down, so bringing her back up shouldn't be too difficult. I've salvaged worse. But
as long as the crystal has power, we should be able to get it out.
Yeah. The hard part is going to be patching the holes and pumping the water out so we can actually bring the whole thing up. That way, we don't have to rebuild an entire ship, but we'll get there when we get there. Until then, I'm going home for a while. If you need me, send a letter to the Phelan caravan.
It might be paltry in comparison to anything else and everything else that was lost, but I think I speak for all of us when we say thank you.
It's my job. But Ro gets up from their seat and just quietly excuses themselves and leaves.
Well,
times.
Why don't... Here's my proposition. We're all probably going to be scattering to the four winds here soon. One last hurrah where it all started. Go back to Shuri's house. Lay Waif to rest.
She isn't staying there.
Okay. Well, we can at least have a celebration there. A service or something, whatever you'd like to call it.
I need to make a pit stop before Turisaz. I need to go to Reese's Ridge. I need the conduit back.
Oh, you don't have to do that. I have it. I summon the chest.
Yeah. Noah pulls out his little replica chest and the giant ass stone casket just in the middle of the fucking dining hall.
Yeah.
Well, that's convenient. I would also like to send word to your folks, Noah, about Finn. They would, of course, be more than welcome at the funeral.
I will hand Foostrack one of the Vodor scrolls.
I will note down what all happened.
I've already told them would I say this in character? Yeah. I've already told them we're fine. So they know that we're okay. They don't know about anything else.
Well, I note down about Waithen and what my plan is, because I need to get her to Haven. Well, her body to Haven. And I ask them for 2 items if they're able to have them for the funeral. I need an airtight stone urn, preferably with a hammer carved into the front.
Mm-hmm.
And I need something to carry Rodri in. Like a harness that could fit on my chest or on my back
Need a
to
baby
carry
Bjorn.
him. With one change.
Mm-hmm.
I would like it to have armor plating over where he would sit.
Oh, you don't have to ask them for that. I'll make it.
Okay.
Late baby Bjorn. Hell yeah.
How many
Yeah.
bombs is Noah gonna hide in that?
None.
Yeah.
And then just before we go, I do want to talk to Vesper before we start heading out to Turisaz.
I also
So
need to talk to Vesper. And then Sala and I are leaving separately from you all.
You're not gonna come with?
No.
I mean, it's one last night.
I'm aware. We have some work to do, and you know how to get in touch with us. You tell us where you're putting Waithen to rest, and we'll be there.
you'll be in Haven in a few days. We'll be in touch.
This is so happy.
Yeah.
Um,
So I would know that Christmas is like going to start resurrecting people, right?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. Okay. Never mind.
But also, yes.
Okay.
There's a lot of things happening with the I don't know the Prince of Roses.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's one of his Archfey titles.
That's what it will be.
Yeah. I've decided that one's already kind of happening.
Yeah.
It's the other one. It's the other one that we need to...
We got to complete that side quest.
Yeah.
Yep. It's all set up there, waiting. You honestly couldn't have, purposefully made it that good. It is just a bunch of things that accidentally happened along the way.
Yeah. No.
Unrelated to each other.
Unrelated.
That now have turned into this amazing side quest. But anyway.
I know nobody else knows what the fuck we're talking about, but
Mm-hmm.
no, I did not plan for any of that.
Yeah.
It was just shit that was already in the world. Which is why I love using the same world for almost a decade, is that people keep coming across things that I wrote years ago And it's like, oh my god, this suits you perfectly. I knew I wrote this for a reason. But yeah. The rest of your crew that you took to Stjernegard is still there at the break. They've kind of gone to their own separate corners. A couple of them have been chatting with each other, but mostly, I think I can speak for all of you when I say some trauma needs to be processed.
Mhm.
And like in Walter's case, he got a glimpse of his wife, and he was just like, oh my god, I thought I was over things, but nope, he's not. And Kit is still around, though he's probably popped in and out already.
Yeah.
Because he's doing his own things and he is having to communicate certain fucking dangerous information to other people. But if you're looking for Vesper, she has kind of relegated herself to Hollow Mordu, because Morrigan has changed it over to the garden instead of Dune Vive. And if you go looking for her, she is just sitting on... She's not sitting on one of the stone benches. She's sitting on the ground in amongst some of the flowers. She's probably actually, like, laying in the flowers, just, like, staring at the fake sky, just letting shit wash over her.
Knock, knock.
Come in. Yeah, no, there's it's a garden. There's no door. But yeah, you'll find her there just laying, staring up at the sky, just kind of feeling everything and nothing.
Hey, and I like try and sit down on the ground, but it's a little weird because I'm holding Rodri, and he's probably just a teeny bit fussy.
Probably.
I can, if you want to sit, I can hold him for a minute.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
Okay.
I hand him over.
Is Rodri young enough that he would still be like
He's an infant.
drinking milk? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So
He's like
he's going to be on formula now.
yeah, well, that's
he's
what
like
I was
only
gonna
a few
say.
months
Wow.
old, isn't he?
Something like that.
Yeah. He's only like 2 or maybe 3 months old. Like
Yeah.
he's probably able to hold up his own head now.
He baby.
Yeah.
That is something that Noah will work on with his chemistry set and like all the herbs and stuff that he has. He's just like, all right, we're making baby formula,
Making fortified formula. Maybe
yeah.
a little black powder in there.
No, we're not gonna put black powder in
Oh,
it.
I know.
However, we might put some sort of, if I can put something in it to like give him more
Residuum powder.
stability, more durability as an infant, then I will do that.
That's what fortifying is for.
Okay,
Yeah.
he needs to be more durable. His AC needs to go up
Yeah.
by like 7.
How much do you know about pediatrics?
Probably 0.
He
Yeah.
was a baby
But I
at
know
one
that
point.
cows eat grass.
So you're just gonna blend up a bunch of grass and
I'm gonna make him a.
Minotaurs can eat meat.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there, he's
Oh,
back.
Ben, you cut out. What'd you say?
Oh, I just said I was gonna make him like a wheatgrass smoothie.
Ah, gotcha.
It's like the
Nice.
green machine
Mhm.
smoothie that you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tastes like spinach, but also like apples for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay, back on track.
Oh, you said
Good start.
you said
Yeah.
before Coop chimed in, so I thought that you were gonna go.
No, I just have a habit of saying
Oh. Hey, I feel like I owe you an apology.
She looks up at you and sits up. She says, "Why?"
When we got back, you tried to comfort me, but I was a little too caught up in shock and grief and fear to really accept that, and I pushed you, and I pulled away, and when you were trying to be kind to me, that wasn't exactly the nicest thing to do. And I wanted to apologize.
Accepted but unnecessary.
Yeah, I get told that a lot when I apologize for stuff.
Well, it's because you usually apologize for things that are totally understandable.
You apologize for like everything.
You're here too.
Magda's here.
We're
Magda
all
wandered
here.
in. Yeah.
Oh,
The whole party.
I will say that
I thought
Noah
we
has
all went
wandered
because-
in too.
You didn't say you did, but yeah, sure.
You said I don't like it when I split the party, so I thought
don't.
we were all doing.
I hate it, in fact. I'm going to punish you for it in C3. But yeah. Ben knows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, Vesper, she reaches out. She'll take your hand, Foostrong. She's like, if anyone understands that kind of shock, it's me. I know.
You ever kind of get the feeling that when we talk, half the time it's because one of us just lost somebody very important to us? We have to stop. Having moments like that. Like it's never good for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. On that note, there are no guarantees anymore when it comes to this. We saw Sav burn through hundreds, if not thousands, of souls. What are your thoughts on me attempting to bring Morgan back?
Appreciate it, definitely. But even though he didn't go the way anybody wanted him to, he was in his 80s, and he was ready for it. He already said all his goodbyes. And to be honest, there's more people dead than alive that he really wants to spend some time with. So I think I'll let him go.
Fair enough.
Is that cruel of me to say?
No,
No.
he's earned his rest.
Yeah. You know, all he could talk about for like the last couple days was getting to see his grandpa again. Anyway, I'm gonna cry if I think about that too long. So, what are we doing?
I'd summon the chest again and give back her bow of recall. Just so she has it.
I don't know what you all are doing. It sounds like there's a trip to Risaz and escort of Weofin's body to Haven. Sala and I are going to leave for a few days. In fact, we should get a head start so that we have more time in Atlaran while you guys are still in the Feywild. So we're probably going to leave, like, now.
I'll stick around until Weofin's taken care of, but then I need to go back to the Lycari and the Collective and figure out what the hell's happening there, because it sounds like I've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Chris, you stay safe out there, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Vesper Rowe headed back to the Phelan. And after Weofin's taken care of, if that offer's still open, I think I'm gonna head over to the Phalon too.
It's always open.
I don't
To
know
all
if
of you.
I don't know if it'll be a permanent arrangement or not, but
It doesn't have to be.
no. But in the last 12-ish hours, I've kind of come to realize I don't know a ton about raising a baby, and I could probably use a lot more laughter right now.
Well, considering the number of people of all ages that we tend to adopt, it'll be the right place. We'll get you settled. I'll teach you a couple things too. I've never had my own, but I've raised a lot of kids.
Also kind of helps because I don't have a home, so...
Yeah, you do. Don't you worry about it.
At this point, Christmas and Sala, I think we'll just go have a quick conversation. We don't have to roleplay it. Just a quick conversation with Morgan and Ross to let them know what they are doing and where they are going. And then they would leave.
Gotcha. Do me a favor.
Mm-hmm.
Send me, because I have a lot of notes here. Can you send me just like a quick blurb of what they're doing? I remember you told me, but just like a short list.
Is this what I think it is, Coop?
I'm not telling you anything.
You don't need to know. Yeah. I will say that Kit will leave unless somebody needs something from him. He's going back to the collective to deal with the collective literally falling apart. And Vesper will join him after Wayafin's taken care of, before she goes back to the Phalon. That is her plan. I will say this, I've kind of mentioned this already to a couple of you, but some of these interactions, because a lot of it is... It's a lot. So we'll do some conversations like zoomed out where we'll talk about what is said, not actually do the role play. Because there's some that it's just passing stuff that we don't need to do. The important stuff we can zoom in on. But Jasper and Gwen will also stick with you guys. Walter is considering staying at the break for a hot minute. Partially to talk with the Court of Reckoning, and get back in touch with Tristan, because there's a few things that obviously he has to go back to his old job at some point, either for Veneer Arms or the Residuum trade or something.
Before he takes off, or before we take off, whoever's leaving first, I'm going to go to him and just say, like, stay in touch, alright?
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay.
You'll see me again very soon. I don't intend to miss Wayafin's funeral.
Okay. Also, I know this isn't much, but I figure after harassing you and making your life fucking miserable, just by being myself,
You've made it less miserable.
Okay. We don't... Anyway, here. And I will hand him a pouch, and inside of it is 1,000 gold. And I'll just say, I know it's not enough, like, it's not everything you'll need to bring her back, but figured I would get you started. Anyway.
And you see him, like, pause for a second. I can bring her back now.
Yeah. You didn't realize that.
know. Would she even want to? I don't know if she would.
You could ask. I went up to Haven and there's this pool that once a month you can talk to someone who's in the astral sea. You could ask her.
If anyone asks, I'll be back in 3 hours. And he turns away and starts casting a spell.
Okay. I don't know if it's like on right now. It might not
Thank
be
you,
on.
Magda.
Okay. Just wanted to save you a trip all the way to the fuck end of the world. All right.
You guys are going there in a hot minute, too. The fuck end of the world. That's what Haven is now. The North Pole.
Question. What has Gwyn's reaction to Rodri been? Because she didn't even know about him. Like, she just came back and
Oh, no.
was a baby.
So, she...
By the way, if I die, you get this child.
Christmas has absolutely
You're
not
fine.
explained
You're
that
never
at
dying.
So obviously Gwyn is still on 3 levels of exhaustion because resurrection ain't it a thing. But I think once she's like, as you guys are milling around, like talking to people this morning and like arranging things, she has finally come out to like exist with everybody now that it's not torture to just exist and stand. And when she sees Rodri, she's immediately just like, give, and just holds him. With your permission, of course. But
he's like the size of her fucking finger, basically.
Yeah. But no, he's actually, because she's almost...
She'd probably fit in like the palm of her hand.
She's 9 something.
Yeah.
And then Fustrak is...
I'm over 7 foot.
So, Rodri to her would not be that much smaller proportionally than a normal baby to any person.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, it's like he's preemie sized.
Yeah.
Yeah. Compared to her, anyway. But yeah, she is all about this little baby. And I think the moment that it clicks that he's your son, Fustrak, you see like a wave of emotions go over her of like joy and then like, oh no. And just, a lot happens in a split second. And I don't necessarily know that I have anything specific for her to say other than basically offering you all the help in the world. While she doesn't have a ton of experience with like infants, she did kind of half raise Sala from a certain point.
He'll be getting plenty of time with his Aunt Magda and Aunt Gwyn.
Aw.
And Wayfin and I discussed, before, if something happens to me now, he goes to you and Magda.
What?
Yeah. Magda made quite the impression. It was you guys, or it was Gwyn and Sala, and it was Christmas and Sala, and
that's a bad idea.
Yeah, I was fine with it, but Wayfin made some good points about the danger that Christmas is routinely in, and I agreed with her. So yeah.
Considering what Sala has told me so far, it's a bad idea. Whereas I guess if things work out, Magda and I will be in Tjolnir. I hope.
Well, we're all going to be going to Haven up here soon. So, we'll get you home.
I'm very curious to see what this relationship is outside of, mortal peril. I wonder what a boring Magda is like.
I mean, you've been with her for months at this point, so you kind of know.
I haven't, though.
I mean, from your perspective, like,
Yeah.
like being alive,
Not really.
Not really.
No.
Like a month, maybe.
Yeah, pretty
It's
much.
I've been with her for like 8 months. It's just all the same. It's just sass all the way down.
Well, I mean, that's part of the fun, isn't it?
Maybe.
Maybe it's because I sass her back worse.
Yeah.
Hold on, I need to check when Campaign 2 actually started, because I don't think it's been that long.
I don't know.
We started on Obsidian Day.
Yep.
And then... grab the calendar here. Okay, Valder 8th. Valder, Orn, Turin, Diath, Dothriel, Reno. It's been 6 months.
We haven't even gotten to Foostruck's birthday.
Yeah, it's been...
1 week since you looked at me.
To be fair, it's
Uh,
it's actually technically been less for us. Because we spent a good portion of that time in the Feywild.
Yeah. It's
So for
yeah.
us, it's probably been like 4.5 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Look at the shit we caused in 6 months. Oh my god.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
Then again, Campaign 1 didn't... I think Campaign 1 lasted a year.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But that's still 10 months longer than this one. But anyway. Yeah. Gwen will stick with you guys for the moment, and then eventually go wherever Magda goes.
We've known each other basically the length of an average school semester.
I think about all of the intense bonds that you made with people in your first semester away at college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's basically what we
like.
just did. And Foostruck is the right age for it, because he's only 24.
Wow.
Yeah,
I keep forgetting that Foostruck is that young.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's the youngest one in the party, except for
Yeah.
Rodri now.
Noah is younger, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Noah was like 20? 21?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. No, Noah's baby. Magda was
26, I think. Yeah.
And then I think Christmas started at 35? 30?
He's 32 as of his last birthday.
Gotcha. Okay.
God, Foostruck still has like 100 years left of life.
Maybe.
Yeah. Condolences.
Yeah. I think not including the nearly immortal characters, Walter is the oldest. At like 37, maybe.
He's that. I thought he was in his 40s.
36,
At
maybe.
least.
Nope. Everybody's baby.
I guess. Jeez.
Yeah, I thought Sala was the oldest for a while, and then I was like, obviously she's not. Gwen is her big sister.
You're right.
Is Gwen older than what? It doesn't matter. Anyway,
How old is Gwen?
I don't remember. She's
Old enough to know better.
older than Sala. What is the? Oh,
Mhm.
thank you, Ben.
You're welcome. I've just been like doodling over here while you guys are talking. Sorry, more secrets.
Oh,
Secrets don't make friends.
we need to write a spinoff. Anyway.
Yep. Don't worry, I've already got the book in my head.
Oh God, it's so sweet, but it's so horrible.
Yeah, it is. It's both.
Anyway, that'll become a thing in like late C3 probably.
Mhm.
So, what are we doing?
Heading to
what are we-
Tursaz.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say are we just taking Walter there? Like, is he just
Walter's
going to give us a
gone.
lift?
Walter left.
But you said he'd be back in like 3 hours.
If you want to wait for him, sure.
Or
Is
he
anyone
could
else
just
gonna
meet
vamp
us
us
in
there?
Tursaz.
Yeah.
How are you guys gonna get to Turisaz then?
Yeah, without Walter
Yeah.
or
Oh,
Christmas.
I
yeah.
mean, Ross could probably take us, or if Kit's heading that way.
True.
It's gone too.
Oh,
Well,
Wow.
Ross could.
Ross charges for every use of plane shift and teleport, I feel like. That
No,
seems like something he would do.
doesn't.
He does
Not
in a
for
way.
us.
He does in a way. You owe him.
No,
He
we're
steals your
his
life
face.
force.
He is Faye, guys.
But
No,
no,
we're special.
Walter will come back. After it's probably more like
Walter, come back.
it's probably more like 2 hours before he reappears. And he, being that it is very difficult to actually teleport into the break because it's protected, Walter teleports to the ledge outside. And you all are aware of when he arrives because he strides in going, Magda,
What?
come here.
Oh, whoa! What is this? I don't appreciate this at all.
He looks kind of like. So this morning he didn't spend a whole lot of time making himself look prim and proper because he was like, I feel like trash, and we're just going shirt, no vest today. But as he comes in, he like looks a little more disheveled, and you get the idea that he maybe had a scuffle with somebody. But he
He was
walks up
kinda-
to you and grabs you by the shoulders,
What?
and you have never seen him smile like this. You've never seen him smile more than like a little, like, kind of a smirk. And he's looking at you, he's like, she's coming back. I don't know when but it's happening.
Good.
And he like lets go of you, realizing that he just like grabbed you and kind of shook you.
Oh god.
And he like folds his hands in front of him. He's like, I have a lot of work to do.
I have to do this, don't I? Fuck. I think I've given everyone else one besides you, so I should probably... Okay, and now I'll just give him a little hug.
He gets so like stiff, not used to this at all, especially not from you. And he's just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
It just feels like the thing I should be doing because I'm happy for you.
And he like slowly hugs you back.
No, yeah, this feels terrible and awful. Okay, I'll back.
Okay.
Yeah. hate it.
But
really, I am happy.
Jasper makes it look so easy.
I know, right?
I have so much to do. I have to go home. I'm going to introduce my mother to my wife.
Oh yeah, that's right. You gotta go introduce your mother to yourself first. But
Yeah. I told her to give me a month. Is that too long?
no, I think it's fine.
We're doing things. What do we do? What are the Nobodies doing?
We gotta go to Turisaz to get Lorcan and Wayfin. And I think
Right.
some of us are going up to Haven then to put her to rest and
Alright. I can manage that if I have one more day. I can get you to Turisaz today.
that's fine.
But Haven will have to wait for tomorrow.
That's fine.
Yes, let's get everybody who's coming. It doesn't matter. Just grab everybody who's coming. I'm sorry. I'm very scatterbrained at the moment.
Don't worry. Hey. You got a little bit before your shit starts hitting the fan.
Salad.
Oh my
god. Or is that
God.
Yoongi?
This is Yoongel's.
That's Yoongi.
What a lump.
Yeah. He just hangs there.
Yeah. You picked him up and he looked fake.
He does look fake. He does. Yuki.
What a tortured existence.
Buddy.
Yeah.
It really doesn't look real. Oh, now he does.
No.
He moved.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
He is purring. He enjoys it.
Like, for a minute, it looked like Hannah was laying under your desk and just puppeting him.
Not all cats will let you do it because they get uncomfortable, but if they do let you, cats do like having their arms stretched, like right here. So he likes being held like that with his arms being stretched.
Okay.
So cute.
So, yeah, Walter will start gathering everybody up to head to Turisaz. Anything you need before you leave the break?
No.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I just say while we've had downtime and stuff, I've begun working on an armored swaddle for Rodri.
Wait, Bjorn. Why is it called a baby Bjorn? Bjorn is bear.
Maybe
Anyway,
it's like a bear hug?
I don't know. I think it might be named after something else. I don't know. Anyway, Walter will gather you guys up to create his teleports. I think he can use a circle because of Murdoch Kilkelly's tower.
What's left of it?
Yeah.
No, that tower's fine.
I mean, it did have a giant explosion on the top of it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, did the circle get destroyed when I killed Ozdala? Was it?
Not Ozdala, that was Reziel.
It was Reziel.
Reziel? Okay.
It's called the baby Bjorn because the guy who invented it, his name is Bjorn.
Ah, I thought
That's
so.
not
That it was
as
named after
fun.
something else.
That's
Yeah.
very unimaginative.
I know, right?
Everything's named after a person. It's so dumb.
All words are made up.
Yeah, chairs.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, names are just weird sounds we make to get each other's attention.
Yeah,
Like
pretty much.
Astrid isn't a word.
I mean, it means something.
It does mean something, but it's a made-up word.
All words are made up.
I know! We're all just screaming at each other in weird sounds in different ways, and we make languages that way. It's great. Yeah, did everybody notice that Dog of Wisdom 2 came out? Hell yeah. 7 years later, man. Anyway.
Still doing
You
that.
guys
good
gather
wisdom.
up. Walter will attempt a teleport circle spell. But I don't know if that circle survived. Let's roll for it, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he creates his circle, and you all step into it, and you feel yourselves pulled. Shunt. But a couple of you have to kind of watch your landing, because as you touch down, a couple stones shift that are still loose from the explosion on top of the tower. And you see that one, quarter of the top of this tower is, most of the mess has been cleaned up, but there's still, loose stones to it. The crenellations have collapsed. The floor below where you're standing is now exposed to the outside elements, except a couple of, tarps and, canvases have been put up to keep the rain out. But as you appear, you see that somebody is there waiting for you. Standing near the partially ruined staircase, you see that not somebody you know, but somebody wearing an AMC badge is standing there waiting. younger human man, probably like Magda's age. But he looks up as you all appear and he says, "All right, you the Nobodies?"
Yeah.
All right. Lieutenant Tom sent me to come get you, let you know where everything is. If you follow me. But he leads you down through the tower, and you see that the tower is a little busier than it used to be. I mean, it used to be empty except for Murdoch and his weird dog, his forge hound. But now there seems to be a lot going on here, and you see like Glacier Watch around, bringing in supplies and whatnot. But getting to the bottom, the AMC mercenary, he'd be Merrill Legion. He brings you to where it all began, which is not the AMC office, but Torlock Azurebane's tavern.
Oh, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there, like, equipment and stuff as we go down through the tower? Like, that belongs to the Glacier Watch? Or somebody, like, abandoned, like, a staff or something like that?
Yes.
Cool. I'm gonna steal it.
You stole a stick.
I did, because everybody will notice that since Noah was brought back, he's having a hard time moving as well as he used to.
Oh.
Yeah, but Noah done got fucked up.
Aw.
Yeah, because there's like a big fucking hole in his chest.
Yeah,
A lot of us got fucked up.
Your sternum got hollowed out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's easy enough to find.
Okay.
The Merrill Legion member, he takes you to Torlock's tavern, where you see that there are some people gathered around outside, some GWC members, some AMC. But inside, there are only a handful of people. Most of them look to be like slightly higher brass from the Merrill Legion. And you see Lieutenant Tom is there, and they seem to be having a meeting with a number of GWC officers. But when the doors open and you see this familiar tavern from months ago, all of the rough, rustic wood furniture, the winged dad demon standing behind the bar with his pink cardigan.
Oh, yeah.
Or no, pink shirt, gray cardigan, because he's inspired by Harris. And you see him just kind of leaning on the bar, his wings folded behind him, not really listening to what's going on, but kind of just observing. And when the door opens and you guys step in, Torlock stands up to his full height. But it's actually Tom who welcomes you all as he pushes himself away from a table in his wheelchair, and he rolls himself up to you guys, and he says, "Well, it is a surprise to see you." Wait, what was his accent? Does anybody remember?
Oh, don't remember.
Was he...
No.
Did he have a Thunar accent?
I believe so.
Okay, so he sounds like Gwyn. Says, "I didn't expect to see this many of you ever again."
Same.
And he nods to you and says, "We've been looking after her for you. Lorcan, especially."
Where is Logan?
Lorcan has been staying at the Undertaker's place. We weren't sure what final arrangements you wanted to make, so we have a cleric looking after her. Offered a scroll for gentle repose to make sure that you can do whatever you would like.
Appreciated. We'll be taking her up to Haven. Maybe tomorrow. I need to talk to Walter about that before we do.
Of course. I will say that being that I have recently learned she was a chosen of Zerai, of course, the folks up in Haven will provide everything for you, but if you incur any expenses that you need help with, we will cover everything. I know it isn't much, but we like to take care of our own.
Yeah, that helps.
But in the meantime, Miss Renly, I have, well, not necessarily clearance, but orders to, being that we consider you sort of the AMC's. Your group, you're considered kind of the captain of your group. I don't know if you're actually the leader of your group, but you're the highest ranking member among the Nobodies. And I have been given orders to promote all of you, and you specifically to steel rank.
Wonderful. I quit.
Yeah, he immediately breaks into a grin. He's like, I thought you would say that. So I took the liberty of doing all the paperwork and arranging everything so that you retire on a steel rank income.
I appreciate it.
And I don't know if you ever will, but if you ever need a handler or somebody to help you operate in different parts of the world again, I'm your man.
Respectfully, I probably won't.
That's all right. If you just need anything, information, a little help, let me know. Like I said, we take care of our own.
So, just so now I'm steel rank 2, right?
No, you all were significantly lower on the totem pole than Miss Renly, but I was able to get you, the rest of you, promoted to bronze.
Does that mean I can get people?
How do you mean?
Well, there's a boat that needs to be exhumed.
Exhumed?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a word for it.
Sure.
Yeah, Tom says, well, considering it is, a historical artifact of a ship, and you are an AMC member, I imagine I could arrange for some help for you.
Okay, we'll talk about that later, but I'll pay people. Don't worry.
You might not have to. I'll see what I can do.
That's also fine. Free things are better.
Well, when you're a member of the Marrow Legion like I am, you know who to ask to make sure things are cheaper. Anyway, as you can see, and he kind of gestures to all the people who are standing there, staring at him, looking at you guys, kind of slightly in awe. He says, we are currently working on installing a small GWC base in Torisaz. A lot's happening. The rebels sort of collapsed yesterday. So we're hoping that we can re-secure the continent and turn our sights on Issa and take it back for General Hendrik, but that's none of your concern. That's AMC and GWC. But otherwise, if you need anything, I and General Sokolov are at your disposal.
Where's the surviving crew from the Stella staying?
We have them put up here at the tavern. Mr. Azurbane was kind enough to make room for them.
And what about my brother-in-law, Razvan?
Minotaur?
Yeah.
I did not see any other Minotaurs aboard the skiffs.
Well, no, he wouldn't have been on the skiffs. He got hurt pretty bad when we were fighting Reziel on the top of the tower, and he said he was just going to retire from adventuring.
Does he wear a purple bandana?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. He is working at the sawmill, last I heard.
Okay. I need to talk to him, and I would like to thank the crew with Estella for helping to make sure that my son was safe.
Of course. You have free reign of the place. As far as anyone here is concerned, you have full access to everything.
And I'm going to go around to like all the rooms. And I'm going to thank all of them just so we don't have to role play all of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to thank each one of them. You said that there was how many there?
Including Lorcan, Rodri, there would be 11 remaining crewmen.
Okay.
I personally do want to hear all 11 of those conversations in one time.
I thought about just congregating them all and thanking them, but no, we won't worry about that. I am going to thank all of them for helping to make sure that my son is safe, and let them know that if they ever need anything, all they have to do is reach out and I will do what I can for them. Mm-hmm. And I am going to give each of them 2 platinum. Mm-hmm. They probably lost basically all of their belongings, and hopefully this can help get them back on their feet a little bit.
Yeah.
So just there's nothing I can do to repay them adequately, but hopefully it's something that helps them out.
All right.
Do bodyguards accept tips? That's where my brain is going after this. It's like, good job keeping me alive. Here, have 20 gold.
What's appropriate gratuity for saving my life?
To be fair, tipping is not a thing in a lot of parts of the world because they pay their staff adequately.
Right.
Mic drop on capitalism.
Yeah. No, we'll have plenty of fun destroying the patriarchy, capitalism, all that in C3.
The Hesperian Empire.
Yeah, white people. The church.
Finally.
Yeah. I rolled a lot of horrible shit into one empire. But yeah.
Admittedly, so did white people.
Yeah. It's called the Third Reich.
Right.
Yeah. I realized recently that I accidentally turned the Hesperian Empire into literally the Third Reich, and that's fun. But anyway.
Question about the people that worked aboard the boat. Mm-hmm. That survived, were they actually employees of the ship?
Yes.
Or were they okay, alright. So cool. I will go around with Fustrog, also thanking them for saving as much of the boat as possible. And tell them that if they do want to continue their jobs kind of thing, we will need them. And if they don't, that's totally fine, of course.
You, being that at this point in the world's history, basically, what are sky sailors called? Anyway, airship sailors are a very rare breed, so these guys are definitely worth keeping. And a lot of them have been with the Stella for years and years. So a lot of them are kind of attached to her and volunteer immediately to, not volunteer, they want to be paid, but immediately are sign me up for raising her because we love her. She's our ship.
Yeah. I give them all raises.
Nice. But yeah, Ben, in the file, The Fate of the Stella Libertatis, the song "The Mary Ellen Carter" is in there, and that's kind of your sailor's idea about the Stella. They love her. But I'll send that to the group because I don't think I have yet.
Okay.
But yeah, sailor's taken care of.
While they're doing that, I'm going down to the Undertaker's and I'm gonna see if I can check in on Lorky.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Lorky.
So an Undertaker's shop is a dismal place. Not because it's like a mortuary, but because it's a wood shop that sometimes has dead bodies in it. That's kind of what Undertakers used to be. So
it's a death carpenter.
It's a death carpenter, actually. Yeah.
Would this be close to the sawmill then?
No.
Okay. I was just wondering, because I have to head over there to see Razvin anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's not close, but Turistas is small, so it's not far. But yeah, the heading over there, the main like wood shop area is open, and it's kind of dark that the Undertaker. This is a true thing that used to be like commonplace. The Undertaker has like casket coffins on display, and cue the song "My Boy Builds Coffins" by Florence and the Machine. Love that song. It's one of Silas's theme songs. Or no, it's Vossner's theme song. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked.
My boy puts people in coffins.
Yeah. But when you get there, you can hear like somebody working away in the wood shop. And you see sitting outside on a like 3-legged stool, just kind of leaning back against the building, looking very recently fucked up, like a lot of the Stella's crew. You see Lorcan sitting there. He's got his hair has been growing back out a bit, to the point where he can start braiding it again. He's he's got like loose clothing that like you would wear if you're like in pain and don't want your clothing to mess with you, like a loose tunic and trousers, and he's just leaning back against this building, and you can see he has a like cup of tea, like he's holding it, resting it on his knee, and in the other hand he has probably not a tobacco pipe, but definitely a pipe.
I'll just lean in the doorway for a second and then just say, "You look like absolute shit."
And he opens his eyes, and you can see one of his eyes, the iris, is cracked and like fractured. And he looks over at you and he says, "Well, you always look like shit, so fair."
Thanks.
You're welcome. And he picks himself up and says, "It's good to see you alive, Magda.
Same.
Come here." And he just pulls you in. And it's as soon as he like gets a hold of you, this is like one of those long hugs that's like, "Oh my god, I'm so grateful that you're alive." It's not awkward necessarily. It's just like he kind of like leans into you and you can feel how weak he is. But when he eventually pulls back, he's like, "I don't know about the rest of you, but well, I do know about you, but I'm fucking done. I'm so done with this. Ugh."
Hey, same.
I just want to sleep, honestly, for years. But got a couple things to take care of first. Is everybody else coming?
To here, yeah. What are you planning on doing now?
I don't fucking know.
I mean, Harrison's dead.
I know.
Morrigan's back.
Yeah, I was there.
Titania and Veranestra and Oberon are kind of all on weird terms with each other.
Is that new?
Well, they're on weirder terms with each other now.
Okay. Well, it's pretty weird already.
There was a scuffle. I'm just saying, you could probably go back and see your mother and sister again.
Oh yeah, I can, but I don't think I'm gonna go back to the Feywild for good. At least not for a while.
Okay.
Thinking about maybe seeing what I can find up in Noblin. Maybe.
Well, I'm going to be up in Noblin.
I know, you've told me.
Yeah. So
when's the wedding?
Oh my god. Listen. It won't. I don't.
Does he even know that Gwyn is back?
He does, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't know how he knows, but he knows.
Yeah.
While you guys are talking, I'm going to look up how long Gwyn and Magda have known each other.
It's been
very short while.
Yeah.
It's not been long.
But a couple months, maybe.
Yeah. One step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
I'm just saying, if you need somewhere to stay, either temporarily or permanently, I'm sure we can all bunk up somewhere up there.
To answer your question, Coop, they've known each other since Turin first, which makes this almost 4 months of knowing each other.
But Gwyn's been dead for part of that.
Yes.
Like a month.
I know people who've gotten married after only dating for 3 months.
And
after only knowing each other for 3 months. That's a different story.
Anyway. Yeah. It's, so for, Foodstruck especially, as the rest of you arrive, the Undertaker has taken notice, that people are arriving, and, he will kind of stay out of the way. Lorcan knows his way around, but when Foodstruck arrives, Lorcan just walks up to you and hugs you.
I hug him back. I think that now that he's here, like, Foodstruck has been doing kind of a good job of, like, keeping it together, mostly just focusing on Rodri. But now that he's, like, here, it's getting harder.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, he's... Like, now he's gonna see her.
Yeah.
And he's just thinking about the last thing that he said to her with the letter that he sent. He never got a reply to it. And just, you know, he's glad that he got to tell her that before she passed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Due to the level of trauma existent in this group, I won't go into too much detail, but I will try to do it justice. Lorcan will take you into a separate room where the Undertaker prepares and stores bodies, and at the moment, it appears to be only Weifin. As you step in, you can see that sitting on a large wooden table, covered over by a sheet, the silhouette of her body. And you can see propped up to the side, there's like a board that has measurements written on it. Like the Undertaker was ready to do whatever you wanted. But there's mostly it's just kind of an empty room, except for a couple storage lockers. And it's quiet and it's dark. And it's very cold in here.
As it should be.
Yeah. But Lorcan will open up the door for you. And he says, before he lets you step in, he says, I did my best to clean her up and make her look a little more peaceful. She saved my life on the Stella. She saved a lot of people's lives on the Stella, taking down that big thing. But I just hope that us looking after Rodri is... She knows how grateful we are. Whenever you're ready, big man.
I'm sure she would. Where are her things?
And he points to one of the lockers and hands you a key.
Thank you. Would you mind taking him?
Yeah.
And this isn't something he needs to be in here for.
Lorcan takes Rodri, and you can see there's an immense amount of comfort there. Like, Rodri is perfectly comfortable with him, and Lorcan knows what he's doing. But he takes him, and he steps out.
I think Fustrak just stands there for a couple of minutes, just like looking, because he doesn't want to look, and he's probably scared too.
Quick reminder, everybody, lines, veils, X cards.
Yeah.
In case it gets to be too much.
Yeah. I'm fine.
Yeah.
But if anyone else needs to call something, yeah. But eventually he will just kind of close his eyes and sigh and clench a fist, and he'll just will himself to move forward, and he'll pull back the sheet a little bit so we can see her face. Mm-hmm. He's not going to like completely uncover her, but just so we can see her face.
You are able to see immediately that she is still in her armor. And what you can see of like the shoulder plates that she wears, like mostly leather, you can see that the armor has been repaired except for some deep gouges. And the most striking thing after what you heard from Ro is Ro didn't go into detail because they didn't want to upset you, but from what you heard, Weifan was destroyed. You look down at her, and except for some new scars, she looks put together. Lorcan meant it when he said he cleaned her up. One of the things he couldn't fix was one of her horns being sheared off about halfway. And you can see a pretty hefty, like, deep scar that follows the muscle of her jaw. But otherwise, she looks the way you remember.
Does she still have her wedding ring on her horn?
She does.
And he's just gonna, like, reach out and, like, trace her cheekbone with his thumb like he used to. You deserved better than this. But you went out the way we always knew you would. And he's safe. He's with me. And I'm going to make sure that you get put to rest the way you deserve. And he's going to know about you. You know that I wasn't scared to go off on my own. Especially after I wandered off into all this shit. But I'm really scared to walk in a world that you don't exist in anymore. But I'm gonna for him and you. We'll see what happens. I don't even know why I'm talking. It's not like you can hear me. You ain't out there now. But he's gonna pull the sheet back up and just like squeeze her shoulder, and then he's gonna go over to the locker and open it up.
So inside you will find an unfamiliar bag of holding, but if you open it up and like reach into it, you will find her things in there. She never really carried all that much. She was kind of a, if I need something, I'll fucking make it myself kind of woman. But one of the things that you do find of interest is a journal. You never knew Waifin to keep a journal. And from what you can see from this thing, it looks like it's not very old, like maybe months at most. And it begins, if you want to look at it.
Oh, I would.
Yeah. It begins with, in her very recognizable, kind of hard chicken scratch writing, it says, I was told that writing helps get out feelings, but I don't know if writing's gonna help with this. That idiot up and left. But it kind of tracks the time since you left the Nathar and what she was up to. And there is a lot of vitriol in those first months, and mentions of her finding out that she was pregnant, and mentions of her being absolutely fucking pissed at Tejar, and more so him than you. And then it follows through you guys meeting back up. It follows through the time that she sent you her letter of finally understanding what it was you were talking about. And you can see drafts of that letter written in this journal that she's like scratched out and been like, this is fucking stupid. Terrible writer. And she like makes notes to herself, talking to herself like that. And then there is an entry about the day Rodri was born, where it has a little like illustration that, considering Waifin wasn't much of an artist, it's pretty good. And there's not really like a lot of words around this illustration, but there is a note below it that has his name, names him Rodri Wildborn, and basically says, the best thing that's ever happened to me. And the other one, and the second best thing that's ever happened to me is finally coming back. But it goes through a bit more of her time in Constanos and meeting up with you guys, and then some time aboard the Stella. And as you get to this section, you find the last page where the writing stops abruptly, like she was writing when the ship was attacked. And it's her kind of talking about everyday stuff. In the way that Waven does, which is with a lot of cursing and a lot of that, like, you make fun of people because you love them, and she is making fun of a bunch of different crewmates and Lorcan and Ro and their family, and she starts to write about like Rodri and like recent milestones for him. And the last bit of the entry says, I still don't know what to do with myself after Fustrak's letter. I've been thinking about writing one for him for when he does come back, because he will. But I don't think words would do it justice. I think that he already knows everything he needs to know. And no matter what happens, when he comes back, or if he doesn't, I'm gonna go out there and do good like he does. Soon as Rodri's old enough for the traveling route. I think if he comes back, we'll do that together. And if he doesn't, I'm going to do that in his honor. And there's a bit more before it cuts off, but that is the last page of her journal.
I'm going to put that in my bag of holding now.
Mm-hmm. Other than that, you'll find her just basically tools, a couple odds and ends like hobbies she has picked up, stuff for Rodri, which you will definitely need.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't find anything. It's a bit odd. You don't find anything to do with Zerai in her bag, except for like maybe some symbology on a couple items.
Well, Rodri's wearing her pendant, so...
Yeah, but you do not find you do not find any of her weapons there.
Okay, the Sunforger isn't there?
No. I'll tell you this for free. It would have gone down with the ship. It is recoverable, but you're going to have Noah get it for you.
I'll make sure to mention... I make a mental note to mention that to Noah. Mm-hmm. When he's doing the recovery, because Fustrak would like to have that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no sign of her chosen hammer, of course.
Yeah, no, that's not like the lady's favor. That's gone, like gone.
Mm-hmm. Spirit weapons.
Fustrak will pack all of that in his bag of holding because there's plenty of room in his bag. He's going to attach her bag of holding to his belt as well. Like, he doesn't want to put it in her bag of holding. That's a real bad idea. That's how no one sees Fustrak again.
Yeah, go to the astral sea and just float forever.
Yep. Until I get eaten by a dreadnought. But he'll save it for Rodri when he's older. And he starts to leave the room, but he stops just before he reaches the door. And he turns back to her. And he walks back over and uncovers her face again. And he pulls off her wedding ring. And he's going to slip it on the same horn that has his. Her horns are probably a bit smaller than his.
Yeah,
so
hers are longer but thinner, so hers sits a little higher up on your horn.
Yeah, but he's going to put hers on there and then cover her back up. And then he's going to leave the room wet-faced and red-eyed.
What?
Let Noah know about the Sun Forger.
Mhm.
Let Lorcan know about the plan, that they're going to be taking her to Haven.
Mm-hmm.
And that he, of course, is more than welcome. And then he's going to head to the sawmill.
Okay.
Because if Razvan doesn't know, he needs to.
Yeah. The sawmill sits along a stream that runs near Tori Saws. It is like a water sawmill. And when you get there, you see that there's a couple people working around the place, but of course, Razvan's hard to miss because he's the biggest fucking guy there. He is up in the actual sawmill, running logs through the saw, and you can see, as you approach him, you can see him kind of working away a little too fast. Like he's trying to keep himself busy. And just to look at him, you can see like tear tracks on his face. You can see his eyes are red. And he's doing what Razvan does, which is working too hard so that he doesn't have to think.
I assume that there was ear protection on the way in, that this place is up to OSHA standards.
It's not an electric saw, so no. It's one of those big ones that just... Yeah.
So Fustrak will make his way over there. What?
No, it's Ash. Ash was drinking. I'm like, she's gonna do it.
And I think that he doesn't know what to say. So he just like kind of waits for Razvan to notice that he's not alone anymore.
Yeah, you see him, there's like imagine Riverwood in Skyrim, because I know almost everybody has a good reference for that. There is a stack of logs that sits next to the saw that he kind of hefts over into the trough that runs through the saw. And after he loads another one into it and is kind of guiding it into the saw, he finally kind of sees you out of the corner of his eye, and he stops. And you see him reach over and hit a lever, and the whole saw shuts off. And he just stares at you for a good couple of seconds.
I'm like this, because I'm like covering Rodri's ears a little bit to like protect them.
Rodri doesn't seem bothered.
Hey, Raz.
Hey. You're alive.
For better or worse?
I already know, so you don't have to.
I gathered.
Yeah.
Well.
What?
Oh, it said I was muted, and I don't know why.
Okay.
I don't know if that's better or worse, because I really didn't know how to tell you.
Lorcan told me when they got into town.
Good.
I didn't know what you wanted to do, so I just asked them to hold on to her for a little while. I don't know how to deal with this stuff.
I don't either. We're going to be taking her to Haven.
I probably should have thought of that.
There's a lot going on. I can't blame you. She would definitely want you there, and of course I do too.
Yeah, of course. The boss already knows about the whole thing, so whenever you know, and you can see like he does not know how to talk to you right now. He's kind of got like his arms pulled in tight, like this is the first time in Razvan's life that there are no siblings around to like help him, look after him. Like Torov's still out there, obviously, but he's an ocean away.
Well, and I assume he knows about Valkyrie at this point.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I filled him in about that when we got back.
Yeah. He was sad about it, but not heartbroken, but understanding. Yeah, Razvan is normally this, like, he knows he's not the sharpest crayon in the box, but he has always made up for it with a certain kind of, like, kind charisma and being willing to help everybody. He is truly, like, he's a bull-style himbo.
Yeah.
But in this situation, because he is helpless, he has no idea what to do. He says, are we leaving now, or?
We have another stop to make before Haven.
Okay.
We need to go home.
I don't want to go home.
We need to tell Torov and your folks.
I know, but I don't want to go back there.
You ain't going alone.
They didn't deserve her.
They didn't.
But I guess they didn't deserve Tejar either.
No. It's hard to tell who deserved who in that situation, but yeah. I haven't talked to Walter about it yet, but we need to figure out getting folks to Haven for the funeral, and we need to let folks know what's going on. And I'm sure people would like to meet this little guy.
Yeah, I guess.
I think I'm just going to walk up and I'm going to give him a hug. Because, like, it's he needs something.
Yeah.
And, like, I know that he's feeling awkward.
It's more... So Razvan mechanically is a barbarian.
Mm-hmm.
But you have never seen actual anger out of him. This is anger. This is like anger that has nowhere to go. And if you don't mind, because Razvan doesn't really have much that he can say, I do want to do kind of a zoom out on the whole Nathar thing.
Mhm.
Because Torov's going to have a very similar reaction to Razvan. And I honestly think that among the Nathar, you guys are going to be very disappointed at their reactions.
Probably.
Yeah.
I had the feeling Torov's had a very hard go of it up there.
Yes. The Stormhoof siblings have always been kind of the pride of the Nathar, but as soon as they took the side of the Wildborns instead of the Broadhorns, it kind of killed their reputation. And now that Torov is the chieftain of the tribe, people are forced to respect his authority, but he's still having a hard time of it. There are some people who have just straight up left the Nathar clan, and others who are still opposing him, but I would say a good half of the clan is genuinely, like, mournful, and the other half are, like, trying to stick to their old ways of, like, she died in battle, we should be happy, and also, who cares? It's not a great state of things. This episode is turning out so happy. Sorry, guys.
I
The
did want to
reality
say
of dead people. Yeah.
I did want to say one thing, that Noah lets Fustrak know that he will make sure her body gets to Haven. So he'll
Just Bodro it.
no. He has
Our bodies.
he has a coffin-sized chest. So
Yeah. It would be
but-
big enough to fit her. Would it?
Might have
you
to
said
bend
it's
her
at
legs.
least 5 feet. Yeah, you just have to bend her a little.
Yeah, it
She'll
should fit.
fit. But I give the journals back to Walter as well, because I had his journals in there.
Mhm.
And I make sure it's empty when we transport her.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Are we skipping forward to Haven?
Unless
Then-
anybody has anything specific to do.
Okay. I did want to say, if we're doing that, there is one thing I took from Wayfin. What kind of armor does she wear?
Mechanically would be studded leather, even though that's a stupid thing to say.
Okay. Yeah. So
we know
I
how
will
I
take
feel about
I
studded
know.
leather.
I will take her breastplate, especially, and any pieces that have any symbology pressed into them.
hmm
And that is what I will use to fashion Rodri's swaddle.
So in that case, then, this works out great. Because the breastplate definitely works really well for that, and then the main thing of her armor that has symbology on it is like a super wide belt, like one of those like core stabilizing belts. Yeah, and then she has a few like smaller like sword style belts that she hangs tools on. So between those, it'd be perfect.
Okay. I will use the non, like the breastplate and stuff like that to cut it up and make the swaddle, and then I will preserve the belt so that when Rodri gets older, if he wants it, he can have it.
We're setting up Rodri to become a hero someday. This would be great.
Hell yeah.
Whatever he wants to be.
Aw. Cute.
My
But yeah,
fantasy child can be whoever he wants.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Well,
Yeah.
Fustrak wasn't given that choice as a
I
kid.
mean, yeah.
That's true.
So he
Yeah.
wants to make sure that his son has the opportunity to be the person that he wants to be,
Mhm.
and we'll make sure that he's teaching him to do good things for people.
So we will jump on break here in a second, but for the funeral, I don't want to go too deep into it, but I do have some things to describe about the way the Sentinels do their funerals for fallen chosen.
Well, and I have
Um,
some things that Fustrak would also like to do for it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that when we come back off break. So let's do that. Let's say 10 minutes. And then after the funeral, we'll get into everybody else's shit. All right.
On that cheery note, we'll see
Yeah.
you soon.
Bye. Hello. Are we all ready to be absolutely titillated by depression?
Yep. I've got my chips. We're
You
good.
mean
every
like
day.
more so than normal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exciting depression. New depression.
I love depression reach arounds.
Right? Anyway, I'm just gonna let that one go. I was just like, yep, totally. But yeah. Fast forwarding a little bit. You guys will arrive in Haven the following day by whatever means. Some of you via Walter, some of you via volunteers from the Obsidian Collective, and some of you by your own means. I think most of your group, at least the mortal members, have not been to Haven. So as you approach this, you guys land just outside the city. You approach this fairly newly stone-walled city, and see that the entire city, Magda, this is different from when you were last here, like 3 days ago.
Okay.
The entire city is decked in red and gray. There are banners hanging from windows. There are little shrines, temporary shrines to Zerai set up everywhere. And a lot of people are wearing at least like a red and gray sash. And there are very recognizable priests and mostly priestesses of Zerai going through the town. Not like gathering anything, just offering blessings for people. And a number of sentinels of Zerai are also out. And in amongst them are quite a number of sentinels and priestesses of Elen as well. Less in number, but there, because anywhere Zerai is, Elen is also. So you all head through the gate to see this mostly like usually white and blue city turned red and gray. And you are welcomed by some of the highest ranking sentinels themselves. Among them, you guys are all aware of who the bridge guard are, the people that stand watch at the bridge to the Monomaric, a representative of every single god in the Balin pantheon. And these people are comparable today to like Buckingham Palace guards. They're like super elite ceremonial guards and knights. But today, the bridge is completely covered in sentinels of Zerai. And you guys are escorted across. Being that Weifan is being brought with you, a carriage is provided to carry her in honor. It is also decked in red and gray and black.
I assume in Haven there's also like that's where Kelfaro is in the main temple of Elen, correct?
No, he is at a Sentinel HQ in Locke's Landing.
Okay. Is there a big Elen temple here as well?
Yes, there's one for each.
Okay. Being a chosen of Elen, would it be possible for me to stop in there and get vestments, essentially?
Yeah.
Like something that I would be able to wear for this specifically?
Yeah. I think in this case, when you make your intention known to go there, a couple sentinels go ahead of you to let the priests know what you're coming for. And when you arrive, they don't approach you with vestments necessarily. They approach you with this like mantle and cloak. The mantle that sits on the shoulders and around the neck is made of polar bear fur. And you can see that patterns have been inked into the fur that are like ancient runes. And the full cloak is this very fine material that reminds you of silk, but not quite. You don't know what it's made of. And it has the symbol of the pale moon on the back being silhouetted by the red moon. They will give this to you saying that this is the mantle of a warrior of Alem. Vestments are for like clerics and whatnot. They're honoring what you are instead.
I also want to ask them about Ryzen.
So Ryzen would... They are planning on doing a service for him, but they haven't been able to recover his body.
Okay. I will let them know that when they do, we might be able to get him back, if that's something that he would be interested in and they think would be worthwhile. He doesn't want to bring him back if it's not... Like, he doesn't even want to attempt it if it's something that he doesn't think Ryzen would be comfortable with.
Yeah. Obviously, at the moment, there's no answer to that, but they will let you know.
Okay. And then I will want to probably speak to the person that is in charge of, like, planning the funeral, like, the funeral for Weifin.
Mm-hmm. So most of this has been the traditional... There are traditional funerary rites for Chosen, and those have already been arranged, with room for you to do things that you would like to do, being family. The High Priestess of Zerai at this temple would be the highest priestess in the world. All of the highest clergy of the Balan gods are in Haven, except for the High Priestess of Hesperus, who's based in Hjolmenir, which would be Lee. Which, by the way, Lee is here. All of the major priests and sentinels have gathered for this. The High Priestess, who is a Giri woman, probably in her 80s at this point, who has a bear paw literally tattooed over her face. She will... Sorry, what was your question?
I wanted to ask about the funerary, the rites that are going to be performed, because there were things that Boostrock would like, or be able to or would like to be able to do.
So the gist of it is all traditional things from the Frostroker and the Dalmariga, and one of them is the High Priestess has done her research. She knows who Weifin is. She knows what Weifin was known for, and she tells you that she has communed with Zerai to learn, like, what is most worth speaking of. And so her thing is basically going through the tenets of Zerai that Weifin most exemplified, and also things that made her worthy of being chosen and so unique. They kind of marry tradition to individualism. I won't go into too much detail about it, but it's a very, like, chosen aren't chosen every day, and chosen don't die every day, so this is a big fucking event. to the point that they're not going to allow just anybody in, but literally the entire city of Haven is in mourning.
And they would burn her body, I assume.
If that is what you wish.
It is.
Mhm.
He would prefer a pyre. And he would like half of her ashes when she is gone. Half to be buried here, and then half to come with him.
Mhm.
And he would like to be able to put her into the pyre.
Okay. Yeah, for the rest of you, while Fustrak is planning some of these things, it doesn't take terribly long. These folks are very good at adjusting on a dime. But when the actual funeral starts, there was, of course, a sort of procession of you bringing Weifan to the temple. There is a new procession where it is very traditional that they take her body around the crater, basically circle the Monomaric once. The actual pyre itself, once you say that that's what you would like, the pyre is set up at the back of the Monomaric, not too far from the existing graveyard where hundreds of chosen from the past millenniums are buried. Some have urns that sit in whatever those things are that urns are supposed to sit in. I forget what they're called. They're like shelves specifically for urns. Some of them sit in mausoleums. Some of them are simply buried with just very simple headstones. And you can see that a headstone has already been placed for Weifan. But getting to the pyre after this long walk around the Monomaric, because it's a meteor, it's not small. You guys arrive at the pyre, and a small army of sentinels is lined up, each perfectly matching the other in sort of dark gray armor with red tabards and sashes. Each of them, they flit back and forth between halberds and spears and axes, but they're perfectly in pattern. Some of them have shields, again, perfectly in pattern. And the shield bearers are the ones who step up around the pyre itself as you bring her up to it and set her on these dried out logs and collection of kindling and whatnot that is all draped over with a sort of like runner style cloth in gray and red.
He would request that they light the pyre before he brings her on it.
Oh shit, okay, you're making a show out of this.
That's cool.
Alright. Yeah, the shield bearers step up, they set aside they hand their weapons and shields to their squires, and each of them pulls out a flint and steel, and in perfect tandem, they light the edges of the currently empty pyre and step back.
Fustrak would look over his shoulder to Gwyn and ask her to take the polar bear cloak off of his shoulders.
Yeah, she'll take it for you.
And as the fire starts to grow more, he starts humming. It's this really deep, resonant hum before he starts singing. This really deep, not harsh, but simple, and old sounding song that isn't in Common or Thunar. It's in a language I don't think any of you know. It would be in Minotaur.
I give you bardic inspiration.
You don't have to roll for it.
And it is like nobody else is going to know what the song is, but it's essentially, in simplified terms, the words that are on his hammer about Zerai and the words that are on the conduit about Elen. And he walks forward into the fire, continuing this, and then lays her on it. And he rubs her cheekbone one more time, and then just like wipes a thumb across her forehead and gives her a kiss. And then just kneels. He'll just stay in it with her.
That's really fucking sad.
Yep. Sure is.
Alright. Yeah, as you...
Man, if y'all ever wondered what's going to happen if my wife goes before me, y'all just got a fucking picture of it.
Cool. I'll be excited for a Viking pyre wedding where you throw yourself into the flames with her.
Yeah, You're not immune to fire, so...
Sure not.
You don't want to be.
Nope.
Go with her. Yeah, as you kneel down in the flames that... you notice that the sort of root of the flames, wherever they've caught, start to take on a much stronger blue and then a violet as they continue to crackle away. And over it all, you can barely hear this over the fire, but everybody else can hear the High Priestess reciting an additional excerpt from the Frostroker and a number of the tenets of the Dalmariga, where she says that Weifin was chosen, and this is something none of you have necessarily heard. Weifin was not chosen because she was the strongest. She was not chosen for being the most ferocious or the most skilled. She was chosen because she had the heart to balance against the ferocity. The goddess of war is also the goddess of honor and mercy, like her wife. And the goddess of love and mercy herself is also a goddess of war. Each of the goddesses share one another's domains. They are completely inseparable. And as she looks down at this scene of Fustrak standing in the fire, unhurt, she says, "But there are still some things, such as mortal life, that can separate us, but not for long." And she looks at Fustrak and she says, "I have a feeling that our chosen of Elen will be making many visits to Ursvalar, and our champion of Zerai will be making many visits to Volker." And she, as the fire is growing and growing and growing, she takes up this song. Even though she does not know the words in Minotaur, she knows the words in Thunar, because this is a worldwide tradition, and she expands it into the rest of the story in the Frostroker of how Zerai accepts her enemies as her siblings because they show honor in battle, how Elen takes up those too tired and weak to continue their fight. And she ends it with reciting a little bit of the story of the Glass Lake, where she talks about how red Ursvalar awaits those with fire yet in their veins, and more glories yet to win with blade and bow and song. But for the bearkin who have fought to the end of their flame, let the Lady of Love welcome you. Rest uninterrupted in her embrace. And the pyre continues to burn, and it will burn for a very long time. There will be sentinels at their posts until the smoke dies, as is their sacred duty as sentinels of Zerai. As the sort of ceremonial words are completed, there are those who leave because it's not their place to stand there and bear witness to this whole thing. So you guys can leave when you feel it is appropriate. But for the Sentinels, and possibly, I imagine, for Fustrak, you guys stay until there is nothing left.
Magda would have Rodri. And Rodri is now... He's wearing the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also wearing the amulet of LM that Fustrak purchased in the Feywild.
Yeah.
He has both on now.
Yeah. I think that is a good spot to zoom out of that. What's Christmas up to?
I was there the whole time.
Well, I know you were there, but what were you up to? If you want to share any of it.
Not yet.
Okay.
I will say that when Christmas shows up to the funeral, he's not sexy Christmas. He just looks like regular Christmas. His beard is gone. It's just the mustache. He's wearing...
Looks like old Christmas.
He looks like old Christmas, but instead of like a green color palette, it's all black because it's a funeral.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I think Sala would have dropped any glamour as well. But after the funeral and the ashes are divided up, and there are some additional traditions that go on amongst the Sentinels, because even though they did not get a chance to meet Weifin before she was gone, the whole point of the Sentinels is to look after the faithful of the Balin, but also to assist any chosen that come looking for their help. The Sentinels were founded by the Chosen, the original Chosen of the Balin. So for you, Fustrak, you see the Sentinels of Zerai doing their own traditions, paying respects to a woman that they should have gotten a chance to fight alongside, but they never did. And for you, the Sentinels of Elen let you be for as long as you need. But whenever you're ready, they offer you basically their loyalty. They talk to you about having helped Ryzen in Kriegheim. There's a couple Sentinels here who actually just came from Kriegheim and saw Ryzen fall, but they weren't able to recover him. And you mentioned your interest in going into some stuff with Kriegheim, so that's a little thread for you to get into it. But as we zoom out a little further, what are folks doing after? Anytime after, doesn't have to be immediately after.
Okay. Do you want us to take turns on this, or are we all just gonna do our whole epilogue and be done with it?
I don't know. What are we doing?
Because I will go first if we're just doing the whole thing.
I kind of do want Noah to go first, yeah.
Okay, that makes most sense to me because there's stuff that might adjust what other people say. Okay, cool. So we'll say after this that after the battle and the wounds that Noah received, or self-inflicted really, he never really recovers from them. And he walks with a because he has to be fancy about it. He gets himself a staff of adornment. So it always has a trio of amber stones floating around the top of it. And whenever he needs help or like carrying something or in his lab, he'll take one of the stones down and kind of toss it to the side, and it turns into a homunculus servant.
Oh.
That is,
So cool.
I would say is like, probably looks like a mechanical bird of some sort. Maybe kind of like a mechanical kenku, so it is functional and has arms and stuff. Or like an Aarakocra or something like that. It's just real small, though. And it follows him around. People notice that he never picks up a gun again. And when they ask him why, he usually changes the subject, unwilling to tell the truth. But if pressed, he will tell them that he no longer has interest in them. Only enchantments and invention, because they are stronger than anything he can make that way.
And I believe he threw his gun away, too.
Yeah, he did. It's at the bottom of the crevice next to
The break.
Yep, the break. Thank you. I wanted to say Barad Dune, but I'm like, that is not right.
Dune 5.
He just
Friggin'
took a
Dune.
quick trip to Middle Earth and dropped it off.
Yep.
So after all this is done, Noah parts ways for a little while, spending a year and a half repairing the Stella from battle. They pull it up from the ocean. They make sure they get everything that everybody was looking for, especially Fustrak and the hammer. And he also makes sure that any bodies that are still aboard the ship are laid to rest. With his mother's connections to Residuum, he hires people to help him construct a forge in where are we at? Turisaz. And together they repair the Stella. Once it's repaired, he moves the forge aboard the Stella and continues to experiment. After a couple of years of research and practice, he begins to develop his first draft of a personal flying machine. Combining what he learned with his wings and the liquid crystal residuum, he successfully makes his first flight over Reese's Ridge a couple years later. His flight is seen by people all over, and within months, Barago's Brews and Balm's sister company, Artificers Airships and Artifacts, opens. They call it AAA, but they don't do telling. They do have rentals, though.
Yeah.
They have rentals. So they build personal aircraft for people who can afford it to begin with. But Noah continues to refine the process to make it cheaper and available to everyday people. Noah makes it a point to visit Fustrak and Rodri often, always bringing gifts for the small Minotaur, including an enchanted hammer that causes tiny explosions when it hits people.
Oh no.
He's still plagued by the guilt of being the person that caused Weofin's soul to be used up. So he makes sure her son and husband want for nothing in all the world. They continue to receive princely gifts and straight up bars of gold when Noah has them on hand.
I would like to add that Corey made a comment about AAA. Says they'll jump your airship for free.
They will. If you have a lockout, they will. We actually learned how to pick arcane crystal keys. Weirdly.
Yeah.
So that's most of the stuff he does with Fustrak. Noah does become a regular at the Court of Reckoning, being a main supplier of healing potions and enchanted items that they require for their causes. I would say he spends quite a bit of time with Christmas, helping him and Sala resurrect people that fell against Sav when he can, and giving as many supplies to that as he can. Thankfully, it's fairly easy for him to get supplies wholesale or extra cash, so he does that when he can help them. After the resurrections are complete, Noah tags along with Christmas on a few missions, I imagine, when an explosive touch is needed.
Oh,
He has
just
made
wait.
it a... Yeah. He has made it a point to craft himself protective armor that keeps his already damaged body safe. He sticks mostly to magic and explosions, but doesn't join the front lines in battle like he used to due to his impaired movement. He visits Magda and Gwyn several times, bringing gifts to make Magda as uncomfortable as possible.
Oh, God.
He also has a tendency to fill the house with smoke, leave craters in the backyard, or spill chemicals on their dining table. Either way, he always fixes his mistakes before he leaves. I would say that in the main table in your house, there is it looks like it was once split in half by accident, but Noah has repaired it with gold.
Oh.
So there will be a gold crack going down the center of your table. Okay, now we move into the more fun stuff. Over the years, Noah's visits become less and less frequent. His business is booming, and most people just assume he's been preoccupied with that. But when they try to visit, he's not there. He returns home every few months for a couple of days to let his parents know he's safe. Sometimes he arrives by stepping through a tall tree in the garden, a pair of druids seen on the other side ushering him through. However, he won't speak about where he goes or what he does. Nobody can draw that information out of him. But it seems like there's some project that he's been working on in secret. Then one day, 15 years after the fight with Sav, which should be 516?
517. I did my math wrong.
517. Everyone in the party receives the same letter from Noah. And they're all identical. Okay, now I have to read it.
I could also read it for you if you don't want.
No, it's okay. No, it's cool.
Okay.
Because I'm going to do it in Noah's voice. I'm going to try.
Oh, boy.
Hey there, gang. I'm sure you're all probably wondering where I ran off to, but that's just going to have to remain a mystery for now. Let's just say I've got some important work to do. You know, there's one thing I realize. There's just one thing I realized there, guy, and that's that mortal life is just too short for anything of real importance. So I'm gonna make it longer. I learned so much from you guys, Christmas especially. You taught me that life, especially immortality, needs a purpose, a goal to keep in mind so we don't lose our perspective on the world. I've had 15 long years to reflect on the lessons I picked up from being with you. At last, I've realized there is no such thing as good and evil in this world, only motivation. Walter did what he did to try to save his wife. Christmas gave up his mortality to keep Atlaran safe, and Verenestra manipulated him to try to keep the man she loved safe. Fustrak and Magda fought against anyone that stood in their way to protect their families. We killed countless people along our way and saved so many more by bringing an end to Sav. We even slaughtered his children to get to him. From another perspective, we might be labeled as evil, and yet to Atlaran we're heroes. That duality proves to me that good and evil don't exist, there are only intentions. Therefore, it is my intention to make this world a greater place, by any means necessary. Sometimes you just need to pursue your passions recklessly. Potions and enchanted items and airships are just the beginning. The liquid residuum was my first step toward... Oh, shit. What happened? Oh, you're beeping at me, guys.
Beep.
I'm turning you off for a second. Sorry.
Sorry, that was my fault.
It's okay. It's okay. The liquid residuum was my first step towards something that will change the world forever. Sav wanted to take all our magic away, but I want to expand it. Make it available to everyone through any means necessary. I firmly believe that if everyone could access magic, the world would be a much better place. However, sacrifices must be made for discovery to take place. The earth must be turned to find the worm, and the metal must be struck to forge the sword. Discovery and invention requires destruction to begin with. And you know, if I learned one thing from my dad and his multitude of birds and legs, it's that inventing is dangerous. I had to make sure my next mistake wouldn't be my last. So I found a friend to help me put certain protections in place to make sure I can go on creating things for a long time. He shares my ideals and pushes me to be better in my craft. He's grown very dear to me, and I think I might even love him. After Toby, I wasn't sure I'd ever trust anyone again, but this guy, well, he's a good one. He makes me feel so bright and full of life, more so than anyone else ever has. He's like the brightest star in the evening sky, always watching over me. I wanted to send this letter mostly to let you know that I'm going to be gone for a while. We need to finish my stuff and then I'll help him in kind. He's got a bit of a long-term project that he's been working on, and my skills will aid him in his endeavor. We'll be traveling to other planes to gather some rare supplies, and I'm not sure how long we'll be gone. But rest assured, I will reach out to you as soon as I'm back. I want you all to meet this guy and get to know him for real. He's so good to me in all the best ways. He looks at me the way Magda looks at Gwyn, and he's always has my back like Sala does for Christmas. He's even hard on me when I need it, like Weofin was to Fustrak. I feel like a much better man when I'm around him, and I know you will all love him. Not to mention he's had an adventurous past like we all had, so we've got a lot in common. Magda will probably like him a lot. He's a bit of a bad boy that turned over a new leaf. Tristan and Walter taught me that even the worst people can be redeemed. And it's amazing how people can change when they're finally given the chance. Anyway, I don't want to give away too much. I'll let you meet him and draw your own conclusions. He's super cool though, just saying. Plus, he's already got my seal of approval, so that has to count for something. In her eyes, he's just hunky-dory. Well, I'm off. I'll host an old-fashioned Barago barbecue when I get back so we can all hang out. Love you all, Noah. And that is the last time any of you ever hears from Noah again.
Oh my god. I'm really sad. Oh no.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I thought that the guy that Noah was dating was Kit, and I was like, you.
Oh my god.
You egomaniac.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was thinking Lord Arnulf.
That brings nepotism to a whole new level. You just
Right.
date yourself.
Yeah.
It is not Kit.
I mean, yeah, I figured once you read on, but
Taylor knows who it is.
Mm-hmm. It's real
we
good.
better figure it out at some point in
There's-
C3.
There's no way this doesn't come back in campaign 3 at some
Yeah.
fucking point.
It better. I'm
No
gonna
one
be
disappears
mad.
after 15 years. Nobody ever hears from him again. Except me.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, considering that, we know what Noah was up to for those 15 years. What next?
What?
Who's next? I think Magda. I want to hear yours.
Okay.
I'll
Well,
throw in some Gwyn stuff too.
yes. So immediately following the funeral, we go back to Hilmanir. I basically, once we kind of get over like the whole revelry of like, yay, hey, family, we're not dead. Magda asks her dad to teach her about shoemaking because she never really learned, and she knows that he's still passionate about it, and she does say that if she absolutely hates it, she won't go into shoemaking anymore because she doesn't want to just do something that she doesn't like. But she actually finds it very relaxing, and paying attention to details and keeping her hands busy is good for her. And it's she actually learns to love it, and a couple years after, she and Hector reopen Renly Cobblers in Hilmanir. And they don't need to use it as like a money-making opportunity, obviously, because Magda gets her retirement from the AMC, but it's more of just a fun thing. And yeah, as far as Gwyn and stuff goes, no, they don't get married right away.
I did the math. I did the exact math.
What?
Would you like to know how many days Magda and Gwyn
Oh my
knew
God.
each other when she died?
How many?
35.
Little
That's
over
a
a month.
good month. Yeah. But
Month-
also, we trauma bonded like hardcore.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, like, it was more like 3 years or something.
3 years of trauma all stuffed into like 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. But continue.
She does wait, like, at least a year before doing anything drastic. But I did want to ask, what is Gwyn's favorite place in Hilmenir?
That's a good one. It's probably not in Hjolmenir, it's close by. The Temple of Hesperus is up that big ass staircase and set into the mountain. Gwyn's favorite spot is the summit of one of the shorter mountains, one of the ones that has like a proper path leading up it. Makes it a little easier. But it is a little mountain that has like a flat top to it. And from the top of any one of these mountains, you can see the edges of the island all the way around.
That's nice.
Yeah. She likes to in the spring and autumn, she likes to watch the sunrises there. And then during the times of year when there's a midnight sun or never a sun, she'll go up there for like when it's lowest in the sky to see the colors or the northern lights. Yeah.
Yeah, Magda and her like take a day trip out there. And once they reach the summit, Magda's been acting squirrely like the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
Just really like moody and quiet, kind of, So I guess not totally
normal.
Yeah. Totally off. But a little more moody and a little more quiet. But once she gets up there, she looks at Gwyn and just says, you're absolutely incredible, right?
Oh God, what do you want?
What? Oh my God. I'm just trying to make oh my God, okay.
And she'll turn to you, she'll be like, what's up?
I had this whole thing like rehearsed. I
Okay.
did it in the mirror and everything, so like
Shut up.
you could refrain from. Okay. I thought that love was infatuation and passion and longing looks and being swept off your feet, but that's not what we are. And I'm glad, because what we are, I'm not infatuated with you. I respect you so goddamn much. I don't want to give you longing looks. I want to give you a little peck on the head just without even thinking about it while I go off to work. And I never thought I was going to want that with anybody because it sounded boring, but I kind of like being boring, especially with you, so kind of want to do it forever, if that's alright. Yeah, and then I'm gonna just get down on one knee and pull out.
No. She literally says that. She's like, oh no.
No, okay, just if you want to say no, you can say no, but just know that I had the town jeweler make this special, and it wasn't cheap. Alright. It's surprisingly very difficult to find this big of a ring. Like... So you can say no if you want, but... Marry me?
And she crosses her arms and looks down at you. Now even shorter than usual.
Oh god, okay, you can say no, but also I didn't think you were gonna say no, and now I'm feeling a little...
And she starts laughing. It starts quiet, and then it gets, like, to the point where her voice echoes, like, off the mountaintop. And she kneels down in front of you and sort of leans down until she's as close as she can get to your eye level. She says, "You are the most wonderfully ridiculous girl. And you are just full of surprises. Look at how far you've come. It's a good thing. You know, I think I would love to be boring forever. You make your shoes, I'll go hunting and make my tattoos and take care of your old dad and my parents and just be that lovely couple everybody in Hjolmanir knows. Let's do it."
Thank God.
Thank me. I'm the one who said yes. And she leans down and kisses you. But yeah, that was really cute. That was like on the verge of like, I would have loved to do laundry and taxes with you.
Yeah, aww.
Like, oh god.
Yeah.
I thought for sure when you were saying like that love wasn't infatuation and all that and passion, that you were gonna be like, love is quiet. And then you started talking about all the little pieces, and I was like, yeah, you pretty much said it anyway. I love it.
God, that was a good one. Good job, Ash.
Oh, thanks. I was thinking about it for a week.
Damn, you should be a writer.
Love is patient.
Yeah.
Love is kind.
Oh my god, shut up.
No, stop.
It was like a little, like, here's the thing, is like Ash is really good at taking tropes and making them work. Like, they're not tropey anymore. It's wonderful.
Ash has also gotten married in every single campaign we've done so far.
I have.
Yeah.
Wow. Weird.
Both of them.
Yeah,
but I flirted with her less this campaign. Mostly
to
because
be fair,
I was dead most of the time.
I'm pretty sure she got married twice in the last campaign, because Sylphie also ended up with someone, didn't she? Or did she
didn't
not
get married. They didn't.
She never
okay.
married. She never married Merrigan Ziegler.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
He
Ziegler.
asked her
They were
a million times, and she
Yeah.
always said, "Not yet."
no, and then
he died.
Then he died.
And then she was like, "Okay, now."
Yeah, now we're good.
That was. I imagined that at his funeral, like an old, like gray Sylphie who's like gonna live longer than him because she's a half elf and he was a Goliath. She would have finally like walked up to him, put a hand on his casket, and be like, "Okay, now we can get married." And just the whole
Kinda
Phalon
sweet.
caravan bursts into tears.
You
Kinda
can't
sweet,
say
kinda
no
shitty.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that, there's a wedding like a couple years later. Everyone's invited. This is before Noah just disappears. So
There
I'm hoping he's
is
there.
a cow cake.
Of course. Yep.
Congratulations on getting married.
You guys have the best floral arrangements
Yes.
at this wedding.
Aww.
Christmas
That's-
breaks out the garden for you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's where our reception is. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Um,
I think that Coop will do his thing, but I do want to add in a couple things about Gwyn and Sala. So, following the wedding and like settling into life, you guys were already kind of settled into it anyway. This was just an extra like little box ticked. After settling into everything, Gwyn goes into doing the two things she does best. She is a hunter and she is an artist. She kind of becomes the tattoo artist of Hjolmanir to the point that there are people who actually come from the mainland to see her. Most of her hunting is not because you guys need the money, not because you guys can't afford food. It's just because it's how she finds her peace. It is not the actual pursuing. It is the being in the woods, searching. It's just sort of her personal happy place. But one of the things that she does is she builds you guys a cabin with her own two hands. She has no help from anybody else.
Then they get a U-Haul together.
She builds a cabin that is basically big enough for the two of you, and then a guest spot, and there's a root cellar, and there is like hang up like flowers and herbs in the attic and the rafters and all that. And she even goes as far as to work with the local blacksmith to make like the metallic fittings and like the cast iron stove and a bunch of other stuff.
Your wedding present, by the way, from Christmas and Sala to have at your new cabin is a blink dog.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Yay!
Okay.
Yay! What's
They're fake creatures, yeah.
I have to figure
But,
out his name.
It takes Gwyn doing this all by hand. It takes her a solid 2.5 years to build this cabin alone. And all the time, people are like, do you need help? Do you need supplies? And she's like, nope, I'm doing this myself. She cuts down the trees. She saws them into planks and everything she needs. The only thing she sources elsewhere are materials she can't make, like glass. And one big thing about it is that Magda only gets to see it after she lays the stone foundation, and Gwyn does not let her see it again until it is done. And when it is done, you will find that it is like an L-shaped cabin, has a gabled roof, has multiple windows in it because, of course, Gwyn loves like the outside and natural light, so she doesn't want to block it out. It is, of course, Geary sized, but she has taken special care to make some things human sized for you. And in any situations where you both need use of something, she has made accommodations for both of you to be able to use things. And she has created you next to the cabin a little workshop for you to do with whatever you please, whether it be
And
your trade or
an aviary.
absolutely.
I
would love that.
need birds.
In fact, I would say that years down the line, 10th anniversary, Gwyn brings you an Aurora Nightingale.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
No.
A male Aurora Nightingale, so he's extra colorful.
Yeah.
But yeah, the story of Gwyn and Magda is basically one of the kind of peaceful life that anyone would dream of after way too much action, way too much trauma. It is boring, it is predictable, but it is it's that like halcyon remembering the summers where you like cut up watermelons and spit seeds all over the yard, and then 2 years later you're like, why the fuck do we have watermelons growing everywhere? It's that kind of like wholesome bullshit.
Yeah.
And
Ben said the bird's name is Harold. That's not the bird's name.
Okay.
It's Al, for Alistair.
Because we've come full circle.
Yeah. Well, it's because that's where Magda was visiting when she met Gwen. So, yeah.
Cute.
And then the blink dog can be Harold.
I will say that Gwen one day makes a trip back to Frostholds, to the chased cat, and she takes the sign. She brings it back. She like nails it up in you guys' room, and she's like, "That's where that is staying forever."
Wait, does that mean we live in a brothel?
Do you want to live in a brothel?
As long as I don't have to do anything.
It's a brothel for
extra
two.
income.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Extra income.
I'm your only customer.
We're just gonna brothel in the middle of the woods.
Yeah. But yeah.
The only other thing I'll say is that Magda will also talk to Lee as the High Priestess, just to ask every once in a while if Hjulmanir needs any extra protection. And just every once in a while, you'll see her flying around up in the air, just keeping an eye.
So Magda lives in the far north. She's a warrior with like a Viking wife. Magda became a Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Nice.
Great.
She can fly
a warrior and her Valkyrie. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a nice little way to leave off Magda and Gwen to do whatever it is they want to do. But I will mention, because I think this might affect Magda ever so slightly, at some point, Alistair disappears.
Oh. Oh no.
And so
that
does...
doesn't surprise me.
So does Droval.
Is that who Noah ran off?
No.
No.
That'd be hilarious.
Oh, Droval is gone too?
Droval is gone.
Oh.
Interesting.
Uh-oh.
This happens after Issa is retaken by the GWC and the rebels are completely put down. The remaining Master Arcanists keep their positions for the most part, but eventually, this is kind of a okay segue into this subject. A few of them are replaced by their choice. They retire because they've been through a lot. Pelai Singati has somebody take over her position. Murdoch Kilkelly, years later.
I'm assuming. I'm assuming we bring Pelai back from the dead then.
No, you don't.
Okay, never mind.
No, she's replaced. We'll get into the resurrection list, because there's a few of them who are not coming back. But of the Master Arcanist, years later, Murdoch Kilkelly, the Master Arcanist of Turisaz, is executed after it was found out that he may have had a hand in some of the rebellion.
Considering that we fought Reziel on top of his tower, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Yep. And actually, one of the things he is charged with is, it's kind of a fudged charge, but they added it to the list because they could, was unauthorized tampering with illegal magic.
Interesting.
Yep.
There's illegal magic?
There is. Not a lot, but there are some specific corners of magic that are like, do not touch this because it causes waves of damage. The most commonly outlawed spells and like magic types, it varies by nation, is chronergy.
Interesting.
I'm setting the groundwork. All right.
Oh man.
I don't know what you guys are
wizard.
You mean the magic that Sala uses?
Yeah.
Lovely.
Anyway.
Cool.
Having said that, Foostruck, let's do yours because Christmas is the longest lasting that we can talk about.
So Coop and I talked about that off this. It might be better for Christmas to go first.
Yeah.
Because some of mine depends on his, and some of his depends on mine. So his is probably going to be a little split.
We're going to do Christmas part 1, and then Foostruck, and then Christmas part 2.
We may need to bleed it over into the next session, too. We got about 40 minutes.
Part 1's going to be quick.
Okay.
So what Christmas and Sala were doing in those few days between the destroying Sav and the funeral was looking for a new home base for something. And after the funeral, he would have started networking with some people. Noah would have been one. So Noah helping supply the court and things like that would have been a huge boon for them. He also would have talked with Walter. And also would have ended up talking with Tristan and the Sundrake's Sundries chains to basically try to set up new smuggling routes for Residuum in and out of the Feywild, and as well as essentially trying to network to accumulate a large sum of wealth. Following that, there would have been an event that everyone was basically invited to. Not everyone, but you three in particular, which would have taken place in Hala Mordu, and it would have involved Foostruck, if he still says yes. It would have involved Tristan. And Taylor, we didn't really land on a third person, unless it was Lorcan, but from what Lorcan said during this, it sounds like probably not.
What other choices do you have?
Kit.
Definitely not. It would not agree to this at all.
Kenna?
Probably not.
Okay. So just those two for now, and then
you guys... here's my thought, because I know what you're going for. I know who corresponds to who. This is the person corresponding to Sala, right?
No. Sala and Tristan go together, and Foostruck and Christmas go together. This is the person corresponding to Ross.
If this is Ross's second, I think Ross would pick Jasper.
Fuck yeah. Sorry, Foostruck. You have to be peers with him instead of his boss. Oh no.
Well, I mean,
it still would have been peers.
Yeah.
Jasper outranks all of you.
Lovely. So it would have been a kind of similar to what happened when Christmas had his memories given back and made his deal with Morgan initially, but not quite to the same scale. It's not establishing them as Archfey. It was establishing them as a title called Peacemaker, the role of which was kept fairly tight-lipped. Following that, Christmas would have been just gone for a decent period of time. And then he would have brought everyone back together again for what he described as one last job.
Oh, God.
Because the Hesperian Empire got involved in the rest of Atlaran's shit to try to take advantage of what Sav was doing. And he wanted to send a message to them not to fuck with us ever again. And it would have been a two-pronged thing. And Magda, you and Gwyn would have absolutely been allowed to say no. Everyone would have, but especially you two, given your relative peace. We were going to emancipate Kriegheim, while at the same time sending a group in to where some of the Hesperian officers were located to rob them. So it would have been a heist slash emancipation, and a third objective would have been to retrieve the body of Ryzen of Baumgarten, whose body was probably in that area because that's where he fell. Taylor, how'd that go?
I want to be part of that for sure. I have a coffin-shaped box and a plus 22 to sleight of hand. I'm good with stealing shit.
Yep.
So, let me grab my map of Caladros. I love that we're bookending C2 with a thing in Caladros, and then it's going to play such a big role in C3.
This was the Nobodies version of a warning shot across the bow of Caladros.
Stop fucking with things.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh my god, stop it.
Okay. So Kriegheim, its capital is Novenbrecht, which is known as the City of Shipwrights. It is where the greatest navy in the world comes from. And Kriegheim, the map that is currently in my drive is the C3 map. So Kriegheim is part of the Liga der Kaiser Frei. But at this time, in C2, the Liga exists, but sections of it are still under the control of the Hesperian Empire. And Freiheitslied and San Soleil do not exist yet. They're still part of the Hesperian Empire. Kriegheim is primarily home to wood elves, many of whom, 1 in 5 wood elves is a soldier in Kriegheim. And being such a militaristic nation, the Liga der Kaiser Frei has been trying to free them to make them the vanguard of their resistance against the Hesperian Empire. And not too long before the Nobodies, Kriegheim was overtaken by the Hesperians again. When you guys come in, it was because Ryzen was trying to help free Kriegheim for the Liga, but also for itself, because the people were literally being starved. Farmers were not allowed to have their own crops. They harvested them, weren't allowed to keep them, kind of thing. The Hesperians were trying to starve them to death to make them bow. You guys end up going into Novenbrecht to basically run a full-on Les Mis, rally everybody under the red banner kind of thing. And when the military and you guys' operations are a little bit different, because you guys are more covert, the soldiers and the volunteers start the fight, essentially. And it serves as a distraction for you guys to do what you need to do, which could include any number of explosions, assassinations, stealing, that kind of thing. But when you come out of this battle, the battle itself is a few hours. Thankfully shorter because there are so many reinforcements coming in to help Kriegheim. But at the end of these few hours, you guys come away with a few pieces of valuable information that will help the Liga continue to resist and help them become what they are in C3. One is that Ryzen of Baumgarten was killed in battle, and his body was taken and torn apart and left on display. It has been picked clean by carrion birds. The only things you have left are fragments of bones. Secondly, the admiral of Kriegheim's fleet is... First thing you find out about him is that he's a traitor, and you're able to uproot him from the inside. And he is replaced by his own daughter, who basically says, I'm gonna have my revenge for my dad turning against our entire fucking country. And she ends up leading the Novenbrecht fleet to attack Lan Andra in Andrevar, which ends up being one of the most destructive naval strikes in the history of Caladros. But she also manages to find some friends in Thurgrir, as Thurgrir is starting to become more involved with the rest of the world again after being left behind. Thirdly, you learn that the Hesperian Empire has undergone a political shift where not necessarily anything has changed, but that's the problem. Nothing will change. The House Sorlassian, who's at the time the current emperors, have made it so that only they can ever be the emperors. It used to be that the Hesperian Empire would pass the imperial title around the different states. The head of the greatest house of each state would become emperor to the end of their life, and then pass it on to the next state. So, from here on out, Othedriel, which is run by the Sorlassians, will always be the imperial province, with Andalir being the capital. What is Ding? Oh, it's Hannah. This is something you guys discovered, but honestly can't do a whole lot about because this is Hesperian politics. But the last thing that you come across that is very interesting is that the Hesperians have created their own god. Not literally. They basically said, this god exists and he wants what we want.
Lovely.
And they use him as a puppet. His name is Sonnenherr, literally Lord of the Sun.
Lovely.
And they have replaced Hesperus with Sonnenherr. They do not change the name of the Hesperian Empire because it's named after the sun, not the god. But Sonnenherr is essentially their way of saying, we have divine authority. And it makes a lot of what they do more dangerous. Which will lead into Campaign 3 and a couple character stories.
Can't imagine what that's inspired by.
I couldn't imagine.
Question.
Yes.
Are we able to obtain any of the pieces of Ryzen's body?
Yes. Once you free Novenbrecht, you are able to take the pieces of his body down from where they've been strewn.
So I know Fustrak was probably very instrumental in that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So from there is when Christmas has accumulated enough wealth and the things that he would need to start going through his second operation. The first operation was called Operation Resurrection, which ironically did not include any resurrections. Mm-hmm. Operation 2 was Operation Saul. And this is what actually has the resurrection. So, Taylor, I'm just going to go in order in the list here, and you tell me yes or no. He'd reach out to Keldir about bringing back Nathan.
So, yeah, Tristan's brother. Let me grab my notes here because I have the actual answers. Nathan is a success.
Wonderful.
He is reunited with his big brother, and being that Tristan has, at this point where all this is happening, Tristan is also, he helps with the emancipation of Kriegheim. You guys, let me quick bunny trail into Tristan, because this is kind of, I feel like, a cool thing. Tristan remains the kind of leader of the Crows, but the Crows become part of the Court of Reckoning. What? I'm not going to go any further than that. Leave it alone.
Okay.
It's fine. But one of his major things is helping out Christmas. And the few times you guys see him, you will find that his like entire color palette has shifted, and he wears like bronze, like patina or copper, like patinaed armor. He never fixes his ruined leg. He has the opportunity to. He never does it. And he is, of course, missing, or one of his eyes is ruined. But you guys see him become this kind of benevolent man who's deeply in love with nature and the Feywild. And more than once, you guys will see, like, a chickadee land on his shoulder, unannounced. Or him have, like, a pet bird on him, like...
Disney princess.
Yeah. But yeah, I won't go into any more of that because that's secret shit. Next.
Amelia.
Amelia is also a success, though Keladir does have to... It takes a little doing because Keladir can't just do one after the other all the time. Amelia ends up coming back about a year after the events of about a year after this fight.
The resurrections, I should also add, are going to lead into an event that takes place 5 years after we defeat Sov, so there's a list.
No problem.
And then before we go into that, we'll jump over to Fusrak.
Yeah.
The
So I should mention that Walter, as he said he would, he goes to Moore's Rest after the fight and after everything is settled down. And he meets Queen Diana Moore. And from what you all have heard, he ends up going alone, even though people offered to go with him. He decided this is something he wants to do alone. He meets he hopes, mother, and from the story you all hear, the instant she sees him, she recognizes him because he looks exactly like his father. And his father is unfortunately long gone. But Queen Diana Moore makes an announcement to basically all of Harris and says that her son has finally returned. And she offers him the mantle of prince as her successor, when previously one of his cousins would have gotten it if he'd never been found. And Walter does not decide right away. Instead, he chooses to wait for Amelia. And when she comes back, after he begs Rhea MacAmbro to let him talk to her occasionally via the visiting pool, when she comes back, you all meet this spitfire of a woman that makes you understand why Walter was wrecked for over a decade at losing her. She is just fire contained in a human body. And one of the first things she does when she returns is she has Walter take her to order some clothes so that she has nice things to wear. She goes to Constanos, where her father Arthurdine is in prison for his messing with magical artifacts and things that he shouldn't be doing. And she basically tells the Constanos City Council all the shit Arthur has ever done that they never knew about. And she ends her testimony by turning to him in the courtroom and saying, "That's for being rude to my husband." And she walks out of the courtroom. Her sister, who is part of the city council, does not judge the trial because she can't. But the city council basically puts him away for good for a lot of crimes you guys didn't even know about. And Amelia, as the eldest sister, takes over her father's estate, and one of the first things she does with that is dissolve the estate amongst a lot of people that Arthur has hurt. She gives a lot of it to places that were affected by the wars in Frosthold. She sends a lot of it to Ile de Argent to support the Moon Elves. And she ends up being kind of a minor noble lady in the city of Constanos. And eventually she hands her mantle to her sister so that she can support Walter as he accepts the mantle of Prince of Moor's Rest. And through his work and their descendants' work, because they do have kids, they eventually found a small island kingdom that consists of a lot of the eastern side of Harris that they did not conquer, they unified. So in C3, Harris is going to look a little different. But yeah, we'll leave that there. Next on the list...
Yeah, I have 6 more.
I won't go in that deep on all of them. I just felt like Amelia deserved some stuff. She's important.
The next one I'm going to ask you about privately.
Okay.
Jack and Helena.
Jack, you are able to get him back.
Fuck yes.
He didn't want to die. And he wants to go be with his boyfriend / daddy. So when Alistair disappears years later, Jack does too.
Okay.
Helena, you do not get back.
Fuck. That one hurts.
Yeah. It occurs to you after you guys try that Desiree was a servant of Sav and probably gave Sav her soul.
Yep.
So she was probably either burned up before you guys got there or burned in the battle against Sav.
So the next one is going to be a bit of a thing.
Uh-huh.
Do we still have the crystal remnants from when Squall died?
The Lycari do, yes.
The Lycari do. I would attempt it.
You will not succeed.
I didn't think so.
After trying, you do learn something about the process, though. Arabelle Molinarch, she doesn't come to see whether or not you'll be successful because she doesn't know if she can handle it, traveling all that way only to be disappointed. But she does tell you her doubts that she doesn't know if a Lycari soul stays in one piece when they die, because obviously this is the first time it's happened. But when you get a chance to look at the pieces, you are reminded of the way Sav broke some of the souls for his own means. You think this soul is not necessarily gone, but it is irreparable.
Okay.
Squall is on the other side forever in whatever form he is now in.
I don't need the full body, and it also repairs like missing body parts. So would we be able to get Ryzen back?
You would not.
Okay.
Not because his soul is gone, but because he chooses not to return.
All right. Last one is Marceline.
Do you ask anybody about this before you try?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I think this one specifically, I'd probably go to Leon.
That changes things. Okay. So, after all the shit that happened to him, Leon is taking a long time to recover. His siblings are running Veneer Arms, but eventually he does take the reins back. And when you do get to him, he is unsure at first, because there's a conflicting thing going on where he knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that Marceline did love him, and he loved her outside of the basically being puppeted. he says yes, but asks that you don't tell anyone.
Interesting. All right, I keep Marceline as a pet for the next infinity. No,
That's
I would attempt it.
Yeah. Surprisingly, you will be able to get her back.
Okay, that's a whole thing that we'll talk about that in private.
Yep.
After the resurrections are done, Christmas throws a party 5 years after the defeat of Sov. It is a reunion party in Turisaz. Everyone is invited. Taylor, I know you have a thing that you're going to have happen at said party.
Am I?
Yes.
What?
Someone is going to drop a present off for us.
I can't remember. Message me, bud. I can't. There's so much happening. You can't be upset with me.
It's Titania, and it's a bomb.
Yep.
I will add.
Oh shit! What was he bringing? What was he bringing? Did I tell you?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Oh.
How far in the future are we supposed to go with our characters for these?
As far as you want.
Yeah. So the other thing I'll add about this party, well, Taylor remembers this thing.
I do remember.
I did some research, and Christmas has had a certain thing bugging him for a while. There is a certain someone invited to this party. There is no sort of matchmaking done or anything forced whatsoever. It's just, hi, this is, oh look, you guys know each other. Nora is there.
Who's Nora again?
Blacksmith from...
She made Foostruck's hammer.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Foostruck would be happy to see her. And surprised. She's probably going to be a little surprised that he doesn't have the hammer on him. Yeah.
I will add that she probably helped raising the Stella because she's a local blacksmith. So you guys have seen her, those of you who have been involved with that project, you've seen her a couple times, but yeah. She doesn't know why she was invited to this party.
She
just assumes
she's been helping out with all this shit.
She just assumes it's because she made the hammer, so she shows up in kind of a nice she doesn't do dresses, so she shows up in a nice long tunic, leggings, and a bear fur cloak. Yeah, she's tall, skilled, and gorgeous as per usual.
If she asks him where the hammer or whatever happened to the hammer, he would definitely summon it.
Yeah.
So that she can see it in all of its glory of, just all of the enhanced glory.
Yeah. Yeah, she might drool over the hammer just a little bit and be like, "Can I buy that back from you?" But no. She is very impressed.
Before you drop a bomb on this party, Taylor, can we hear
But I wanna.
Can we hear what Foostruck's been doing for the last 5 years?
Yeah.
We'll do the ADHD version of storytelling.
After the funeral, Foostruck probably spends a few days around Haven, checking out the Monomarig, experiencing some of the things at the Temple of Elen. And then he goes and joins the Phalon for a while. He's probably there for about 4 or 5 months. Just traveling with them, learning from them. I would think that he would probably be mostly interested in Taylor, you can tell me yes or no on this, but is there like a banjo-like instrument in Atlaran?
Yeah, there's banjos. There's just
Okay.
straight up banjos.
He kind of learns how to play the banjo a little bit.
Ding 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 ding.
Like nothing special, and because he's so big, he probably needs like a bass banjo, so it sounds almost like a real twangy guitar.
They can make one your size.
And he probably learns a little bit about wood carving. Just things that he can do with his hands when he needs something to relax. After that 4 or 5 months, though, he, if Vesper's around, he speaks with her and says that he would like to get in touch with Christmas. And just asks to meet with him. And when that happens, Fustrak would say that he is willing to join as a peacemaker. He's needed some time to have some peace in himself before he feels like he's ready for it.
Fuck, that's really good. Pulls out a little notebook and needs peace inside yourself before.
Christmas is the canonical author of the C2 books. Whenever we read that,
100%.
Yeah.
My God, they're gonna be so sassy.
Yeah.
He does need a couple of things before he can agree to it. He needs an item that can allow him to get to and from Christmas when he needs to report in to Chris, because he doesn't have any magical ways to communicate. And he would like to have the ability to teleport once a day for emergency situations, or if he needs to get somewhere quickly, like if he needs to get home because there's something wrong with Rotary or something like that. Beyond that, he's only going to be looking for a place to live, but he already knows he can pick a team. And since Jasper's no longer on the table, he's going to talk to Vesper and Walter.
I can't think of any reason for either of them to say no. Especially with the Obsidian Collective falling apart. And while Walter does accept his mantle as prince, ain't nothing saying he can't help you out until he's king.
Be very clear too, Walter probably is already somewhat involved in this.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a quick thing. I don't mean to rush anybody, but I do want to hit that bomb drop before we're done.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
I hope it's not a literal.
It's worse.
No.
Yes. Love it.
It's a Noah bomb drop. Yeah.
I don't have a
Is
ton left, if that's okay, but
yeah.
In his downtime, Fustrak would probably have asked Gwyn for help with building a home for him and Rotary.
She's good at it.
Yeah. It would be in Lochmanos.
Okay.
In kind of a just off on its own area. Just like a four.
Do you want it to be Chinese, Japanese, Russian, or Korean?
Oh, it's going to be like a Western-style ranch house.
No, what
four-bedroom
region
ranch.
do you want to live in?
I was thinking probably on the western side, maybe toward the
pick
south.
a culture.
What were they again? List them off.
Russian, Chinese, Japanese, or Korean? Those are the 4 flavors of Lochmanos.
Let's do Japanese.
Cool. So kind of central. Awesome.
Okay. It'd be like a 4-bedroom ranch.
Mhm.
And there would be a root cellar, of course, but there would also be a hidden basement with cots in it that if Christmas needs people to lay low, he can stash people. And Fustrak would end up asking Walter for help with warding it so that people can't just find it.
Yep.
At this land, he would plant tea, and he would plant a single apple tree that is Vesper's apple tree. And he would plant the Erden bloom.
Thank you. Yay. Okay.
And when he is not off on missions and he is not running around trying to do good, he is usually there with Rodri, teaching him stuff, that kind of thing. And having friends over when he can, or dirtling around on the banjo.
Dirtle.
On the porch that stretches across the front.
Oh, you're living Creedence Clearwater Revival. I love it.
I will say, before accepting Christmas's offer, he would talk to LN about it, just to make sure that there aren't any complications there. I assume that there wouldn't be.
Let's roleplay it. I'm just kidding.
Not right now. Maybe next time. Considering who it's in connection with, no problem at all.
Okay. But yeah, that would be pretty much it for like those 5 years, and then we can go into the rest of it later if we want to.
Yeah, we'll have to do that next session.
Yeah.
Quit adding things, Coop. But okay.
Didn't
what he does.
Okay. Thank you for planting the Erden bloom. It is deeply appreciated.
Yeah, that was a plan.
We just unlocked a whole subplot in C3. This is gonna be great.
I did research. Sunflowers grow there.
I didn't expect it to be Lacrimose, though, so I'll have to fix a couple things. But anyway.
Well, it's because sunflowers already grow there, but also tea needs rain and cool temperatures, and Lacrimose is further north than Garrel Shell, where I was originally going to settle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're kind of in in a region that's like the central northern Japanese forests, so colder. But anyway, so at this party, at the 5-year mark after the battle with Sob, I will come up with a name for that day because it deserves one. Might be something to do with the Spile Show, but we'll see. As the party is just going swimmingly, and y'all are catching up with some old friends, a lot of old allies have shown up. Even a few crows have shown up. But it has everything you guys could think to want or need, and basically everything that Christmas and Sala could afford. So it's a lot. But in amongst the celebration, do we remember who has the highest passive perception?
Literally just closed my character sheet.
None of us are wisdom-based characters.
I know. I think it might have been Noah. It doesn't matter.
Mine's 20. Mine's 21.
It doesn't matter that much, but I think it will be nice if Noah notices. So you guys are just kind of hanging around with each other. You're sat at your the Nobodies table, which is where the people who are in the final battle sit. And someone approaches the table. A very large figure. In a fine, bear fur cloak, with a very nice, embroidered tunic, simple leggings, boots with the folded top. And he walks up and he pushes his hood back, and you see the tattoos.
Oh no!
Banding,
oh no!
Handsome, bearded face of a fully recovered Ulgar Heidelin. And the first thing that I think any of you will notice is that he is ever so slightly, just slightly transparent. But he steps up to your table. He puts his hands down on the edge of it. And he says, "Well, Look at how far you've all come. It's good to see all my old friends thriving. And he looks at Magda in particular and smiles. And he says, in honor of your celebration and your victory, I have brought you a gift. And also as a thank you. And he reaches into his cloak and he draws out this cracked, almost falling apart, barely glowing glass orb. And he sets it very gingerly atop a little cloth napkin so it doesn't roll away. And he motions to it, and you can see reflected in the cracked surface there is some kind of horrifying tarantula-faced monster. And he taps it with one finger, and he says, I bring you what's left of another horseman. Styonics. To do with as you please.
You did this by yourself.
I did. I had to make sure he was weak enough to put through the Demiweir. He's all yours.
I reach out a hand to shake his hand.
And he smiles, and he reaches out a hand that you see now has, enchanted rings, additional tattoos, and, weird discoloring across two of his fingers.
I imagine with Christmas's ability to just sense magic at all times, this man just radiates.
He looks like the Luxor.
Yeah.
Looks like a fucking supernova.
Yeah. But he reaches out and he shakes your hand. He's a little incorporeal, but there's still something there.
Yeah.
You looked like you had something to say.
Help yourself to some egg rolls.
And he kind of glances over at, you got, buffet tables going on. He says, egg rolls are really more the goose's thing. Thank you, anyway. I have a couple projects to get back to, but I imagine some of us will be seeing each other again. Eventually. Take care. And he walks away and fades.
If people are okay with it, I need about 5 minutes to finish up what's left of Christmas. Probably
5 minutes
less.
is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So post-party and whatever the fuck we do, immediately destroyed Styonics.
Oh yeah, my hammer's out and coming down.
It is literally as easy as crushing it.
Yeah. As soon as Algar leaves, we just all attack at the exact same time.
Yeah. He brought us a horseman.
Speaking of horsemen, Christmas makes it's not an additional deal, but he makes sure that it's bound in Fey magic, which I'm assuming after 5 years, his is a bit more powerful than it was when we fought Sav. But he makes sure to make this deal with Morrigan because someone needs to oversee him. And Taylor, this is something that we've talked about, but for the next little while, Christmas has to make sure that he can only do this once. He makes a simulacrum of himself that he then true polymorphs into himself.
Mm-hmm.
And the Fey magic, through the contract that he makes with Morrigan, is going to make it so that there are significant consequences if he tries to make it so that there's ever more than 2 Christmases in the world at the same time. From there, Sim Chris, as I'm going to start calling him, takes over operations of something that I'm sure will come up later that I will not be describing whatsoever what they do. Sim Chris takes over the operation of something called Jade Street.
Well, the real Christmas goes on an adventure in the Feywild that probably takes a couple of decades at least. He gets the note from Noah probably pretty quickly, given the time dilation difference between the Feywild and everything else. Christmas goes on the Lord of the Horses side quest to find all of that. And I imagine he probably has to drag Kit with him too. Actually, this isn't Atlaran. This isn't in the Feywild. He goes on the Lord of the Horses side quest to track down all of Kit's abandoned horses from Campaign 1 and release them from their packs that they have, tying them to the mortal world, unable to pass into the great beyond and being changed into these horses of myth and legend. This needs to be a one-shot we do later on. But anyway, Christmas assembles a random crew of 3 other people. I don't know why 3. We don't know who they are. We don't know what abilities they have, but it'll just be a fun thing we do later on. Anyway, he completes that quest and then returns to the Feywild to claim his new title in a long-lost Fey realm, the realm of horses, which was lost when the Archfey and Lord of Horses died thousands of years ago. Christmas completes the side quest necessary to reclaim that and takes his place as a true Archfey in the Court of Reckoning as the Prince of Roses and the Lord of Horses, and then sets out to establish relationships with the other courts, paying particular interest into the whereabouts and going-ons of Verenestra. And then you all probably don't see him again for a very long time unless your name is Fustrak.
Yep. I will add, we'll get into more details next time when we have time. Verenestra abandons the Sealy Court.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah, but it's not a thing that's ever done. So in the Feywild, it's like, what the fuck? But also, a new court arises within the Feywild. Doesn't have anything to do with Verenestra. Called the Court of Upheaval. And that's where I'm going to leave that. Thank you, Harris, for that idea.
Yes, thank you, Harris,
yes,
for that idea.
Isn't anyone in the Court of Upheaval?
Yeah.
I send Taylor all sorts of bad ideas all the time. I sent Taylor a TikTok today that 100% could bite us in the ass in Campaign 3.
I'm glad your wife died, because you manifested that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, as the player that manifests their own pain the most.
Yeah. But anyway, we will get into more epilogue stuff next time because Christmas is not done. And we need to get into some stuff that happens beyond your characters and into the what I have deemed the post-Wanderlust timeline, which is being adjusted as we speak. I guess the dissolution of the Obsidian Collective, the creation of the World Overseer Committee, who sounds just like evil in a bucket, and a bunch of other shit that's important, like the disappearance of the Lycari, the disappearance of many of the Master Arcanists, and so on and so forth, and what Jasper does, because he is a big thing that I didn't get to. But yeah, we'll get into that next time. We have to head out because people got shit to do. Yep. We will not be streaming next weekend. We're working actually on... Well, Ash is working, but I will be working on some stuff for my own usage, and we may or may not discuss a little bit about some between campaign stuff. We'll see what happens. I don't have an actual plan yet. But yeah. This is next session. We are saying goodbye to Wanderlust for good. And saying hello to Valerian.
On that
So,
note, we have a little preview for you guys.
what?
Just a little one that we'll end the stream with.
Okay. Well,
Wait.
first let me say my thingy. Thank
Can
you
you pull
everybody.
up Twitch so I can watch it?
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for joining. Yeah, this is your delay. Thank you everybody for joining us. You can catch us on Twitch 11 a.m. Eastern Saturdays. See our VODs and podcasts the following Wednesdays on YouTube, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. Like I said, not streaming next week, but we will the week after that, as far as I know. And yeah, this has been a fucking ride. Ooh. 60, 61, 62 episodes by the time we're done, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. All right, now roll the beautiful bean footage.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you in a couple weeks.